the question. So
Let's
whatever.
go.
And we're live.
Alrighty.
Let's
We
go.
are back with the Blue Collar Society podcast. We have our friend Herrick from Heavy Tile. Welcome.
Hello, hello. How's it going,
And
everybody? How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, man?
I'm
Good,
good. We're
good,
doing
pretty good,
good.
man. Good to see you, man.
Excited to have you.
Good to see you
So
guys.
for the guests, for our viewers, I should say, which is probably like two, give a brief
Nathan's
of,
coming.
yeah, Nathan's coming. Where's Nathan? He's our
Oh,
only
shit.
kind of So yeah, brief description, where you're from, where you're located, all that
brief
good stuff.
description. Brief description. So I am pretty much born and raised here in South Florida. I've been here my entire life. And my family's from Brazil. They moved here like maybe 30 years ago. I was born in Boston, but when I was like 8 months old, I moved to Florida, and I've been here ever since. I hate the cold, and I would never, nothing against Boston, but I consider myself a Floridian, and specifically here in South Florida. So this is just my neck of the woods. I've been here forever. Would I leave? Yes, probably, but I enjoy it now. And I've been installing tile here for over 10 years now. So I've built a good clientele and a reputation. So I don't know. That's a brief, description. I
Brief
don't.
description.
Do you have
Yeah.
any desires to leave, or do you just want to stay in Florida?
So because my job is so physical and like I have to be at somebody's like for me to do a project, I have to physically be at your home. I have a lot of clients here and I get a lot of referrals here. So I would want to, just because I'm the type of person where I like to throw myself into situations that I'm not already comfortable in, because I know I thrive in those situations. I don't have a wife, I don't have any kids, so there's nothing really holding me back. It's just really my business here and something that I've been trying so hard to build, and it's like finally starting to kind of like get
Fall
in
into
here,
place.
and so it's like, do I want to leave? Like, I would like to, just for like my personal growth, but like I don't think it would be the smartest financial decision at the moment.
Yeah.
Like it
Once I
just
can
started getting good.
Once I can get some systems into place and I can have like maybe somebody else operating or helping me operate where I don't have to be here the whole time, it could be different. But for now, I think that this is where I need to stay. Who
Where
knows?
would be an ideal place for you? Where would you want to go?
I don't know,
Because
man.
ultimately, I want to be in Florida. But
Anywhere cold, he
I've
said.
been there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't like the cold, but I know it's just a matter of adapting. There's a lot of like, I'm big on the mental side of anything that I'm thinking of. I'm very strategic with it that way, and I act on logic. So I know like I would adapt, but maybe Texas. I don't know. Maybe closer over there to Jordan. I have no idea. Maybe I'd move to. I've thought about going somewhere like towards Panama City or Panama Beach, which
Yeah.
is still in Florida, but doesn't feel like it. Like up near Destin.
Yeah.
Man, you're moving away from all of us even further. Tell us how you really feel.
But I don't know. It's just like I said, I would love to throw myself in a situation where just like I just don't know anybody. And plus like I don't know. I feel like it's
It
It's
kind
like
of allows you, if you don't.
You got a
know
helper,
anyone,
Heavy?
It kind of allows you to reestablish your name within that space.
yeah, exactly. I feel like I this needs to. I'm still in the foundation process, even though it seems like I'm not, and I've been doing this a while. I still kind of am. And so I really need to get that going before I can really think about anything else. I don't want to get focused on something else and then not work on either of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it just
So-
you, man? Do you have a helper?
Yeah, I mean, I have a helper that I take every once in a while, but I haven't really been installing. Like lately, I've been in a transition of just pretty much like getting 2 to 3 jobs at a time and overseeing all the projects. I'm a part of the whole layout process. I go over everything with the client. So really just like managing the projects, and then
Okay.
what I'm doing is right now, since I don't have as consistent of work, I don't have employees, right? So at the moment, I'm subbing out to other tile contractors that I know of their work. When I managed projects for 3, 4 years, a lot of these guys called for me at the time. So I know the guys that
Yeah.
are good and the guys that know how to do high end work. So and I just make sure that I pay them well. And that's the thing is, I'm not I'm not the contractor for somebody who's trying to do like an Airbnb flip where you just need
Yeah.
a bathroom really cheap, really quick, like boom, boom, boom. Because my prices are going to be, it's going to be at the rate of like you doing something a little bit nicer. Could I
Right.
drop the price? I could, but if I can stay consistent at the price that I'm at, why would I?
Why lower
No.
the standard? Yeah?
Now, do you have any plans to get W-2 employees, or do you think you'll stay 1099?
I do because I think that W2, like I think as far as scaling goes, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Because you in a sense pay out less. I mean, it's per hour, 40 hours or overtime, whatever. But when you're subbing it out, the good thing about subbing out that I like is that they have more of like they care about the project more, in a
More
sense.
incentive.
And it's
They're
more in
unique,
its productivity, they're not really dragging feet all day long. Like they
Well,
need
and they're paid by the job too. They're not paid by the hour.
Yeah, it's more of an incentive.
And if I have an issue receiving payment because of something that's happening on the job and they're having an issue correcting that, then they're gonna have it's just it kind of just goes down the ladder that way. But luckily I haven't had that issue. I try to treat my guys as good as honestly, I've been treated pretty badly as an employee and undervalued, I feel like, especially when I worked for another company. And I told myself I would never treat my guys like that. So that's kind of like what I'm doing. I pay them well. Once a week, I'll buy them lunch. Sometimes on Fridays, I'll grab them a case of beer with a bag of ice and throw it in the cooler. 3:30 p.m.
Hell yeah.
So it's like you gotta. I feel like, and if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of your clients.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I
So
want
who's-
somebody taken care of. You know what I mean? If they get pissed off at me, they're not going to take it off on. They're going to take it out on them.
So
Yeah.
that's essentially,
So-
I guess, a skill that I read on many of the books that I've read was, you're not. They don't work for you. You work for them.
You got pre-workout
Yeah.
mix in that water?
No, man, I don't drink energy drinks, pre-workout, soda, no caffeine whatsoever. Every once in a while, I might have a soda with like a pizza, just because.
Oh, no
Fucking
mimosa?
Yeah.
No,
Soda and pizza. It's just that's a combination that just kind of sometimes has to go together.
My heart and like I get irregular heartbeats. Like I just can't do it. One, I've never
Yeah.
been fond of it anyways. And one, like years ago when I would go out drinking, like either to a bar or club, I would have sometimes whiskey and Red Bull, which is already. I mean, that's the mistake already. That's probably what I was getting. I was getting disciplined, or whatever. But it would mess with me the few times I would mix Red Bull, and I'm like, I already don't drink this stuff, and I'm not gonna start. So
No, that's not the mimosa we were talking about. There's a trend going around called the blue collar mimosa, and it's
Yeah, I've
whiskey
seen
and
it.
Red
I've
Bull.
seen it, but there's
Yeah.
Red Bull in it. I just
Oh, you can use different stuff, but
Red
yeah,
Bull is
I'm the
cool.
water and juice guy. Orange juice for sure. Orange juice all day.
Yeah.
right. So, circling back, how did you get into tile? Like, how did this all start?
So, you want to get like the beginning of how I got into tile, or what I started
Yeah,
doing before tile, and then what got me into tile?
From the beginning.
So, out of high school, I went to college for 6 months in Orlando. Lived in Orlando for 6 months. I went to Valencia East Campus. For I don't remember what it was, but I fucked around and I just pushed my mom's money away, and it was like at that time I didn't take anything serious, and so I got a hard talking to by my mom. I knew I had to kind of do something at the time, and then when I moved out and I went to live with my cousin, I joined the Ironworkers Union. He was an iron worker, and that was out of local 402 in Riviera Beach. So I did that for about, I don't know, I want to say a year. I was doing a 4-year apprenticeship, and I even worked the St. Lucie nuclear facility, which is pretty cool. It takes you like 2 weeks to get badged in. You subcontract for Florida Power and Light, which runs all the power here.
I know the whole nuclear field. I
Yeah,
haven't worked
so
in there.
it was like
government stuff.
Nuke money is what they call it. I mean, it's homeland security. You go through bomb detectors to get inside, like every single day to go to work. So we have to wear composite, or else you're taking your boots off if you're wearing a steel toe. So I did that, and I loved it. I was getting into welding. I was getting into rigging. Like I was doing all kinds of stuff. But once that job was over, it was an outage that we were working, and it was 7/12, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And I think I had like 2 days off in 3 months. And as soon as that outage was over, you get laid off. Once you get laid off, you start collecting unemployment, and then you go to the hall, you put your name on the unemployment list, and it's pretty much in an order. So next job that comes in, if they call the hall, say, hey, we need 8 welders, 2 riggers, and whatever, 4 hands.
Were you a seasonal technician?
What?
With
No.
that position you were doing, where you were like
We
a
were
seasonal
subcontracting.
technician?
We were subcontracting for FP&L as iron workers. So we were getting stuff in and out of containment. Those 2 cans that have
Yeah.
the 2 nuclear pools with all the radiation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was literally just my face, like suited up. You couldn't touch yourself. You're wearing TLDs, which stands for thermoluminescent dosimeter, which reads how much radiation you're being exposed to. Crazy stuff. Really, really cool. And it's like fucking neon blue, just like you would see in like the cartoons, like the radiation pool. It's insane.
It's, like,
Wow.
it's really cool.
Things
Like
on the
small
inside.
colors now.
It's pretty dope. And so yeah, so I mean, I loved it, you know, but once I got laid off, it was $550 every 2 weeks that you collect from the government, and it just wasn't enough. And they couldn't put me to work. People that were on the list after me were going to work before me because it's like kind of like a grandfathered in thing. You know, it's like firefighters and stuff. Like if you know somebody in
The
there,
union.
exactly.
Union.
Not about it.
Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say. So I was like, yo, fuck this, dipped out. And then my aunt, she was a detective at the time. She just got promoted to sergeant in Fort Pierce. At the time, she was dating somebody. His name's Alex, and he is still a tile installer till this day. And at the time, he needed a helper, you know. And I was like, well, bro, I'm fucking out of this shit. Like, I need to go to work. I need to work every day, and I need like guaranteed money. Like, I'm fucking hungry, and I'm willing. Like, I'm teachable. I'm coachable. Like, whatever you need, I got you. You know. He's like, well, have you done tile? I was like, never done tile. Have you held a grinder? I was like, you know, besides like in welding class where we were like grinding shit down to whatever. You know, and so I started working with them that way. And I just went to work with them as a helper. I think at the time there was 2 installers, so I used to mix mud and carry tile for 2 guys. And these guys were fucking ridiculous at installing it. All we did was floors. We barely did any bathrooms. So I mean, the buckets of mud were nonstop, and the tile carts were nonstop. Like, you literally sat down for 30 minutes to eat, that was it, you know? Like, when one guy's done with mud, you're starting to put tile, the other one needs mud. By the time you go mix them some stuff, this guy needs tile, you load his up with tile. Now the other one needs tile. So it's like you're back and forth, and like you just you get the hustle, you know? And so for like a year and a half, I didn't really have time to learn much. And then once that guy left, it was just me and Alex, the main installer. He's the guy that taught me everything. You know, literally, like, I owe that guy a lot, and I tell him all the time. And eventually, I want him to come work for me. I want to put him in a position where he's not installing anymore, because he still is today. You know, so like that's one of my main goals, is to just like kind of pay that back to him. You know, and he literally took me under his wing, and he taught me everything. And I remember I asked him like 2 years in, I was like, let me start installing. He was like, you don't even know how to grout or mark cuts. Else. He's like, tile's the last thing that you're going to learn. And that was like a key thing that I'm going to teach people the same way, apprentices, is like, you learn everything. You learn how to mark your cuts. You learn how to make the cuts. You learn how to hold the grinder. You learn how to make a relief on your cuts. Because even making the cuts is hard sometimes, depending on how they are, because they break on you, depending on how you start, if you don't score. And so mixing grout, getting the consistency right, getting it on the walls, not dropping it, like, you know, like really learn everything first, then you learn how to install tile. Because he's like, I'm not going to have you installing tile and then calling me, hey, can you mark this cut? Hey, can you make this cut? Because most of the time once we started installing, both of us, he would go one way, I'd go the other way on the floors, you know. He'd go into one room, I'd go in the living room, whatever. So I did that, and I started installing underneath laundry rooms. You know, I started doing like pantries, closets, you know, areas where if there is a lip or two, like, it's forgivable. And at that time, there was no leveling clips. It was all spacers. And so like we didn't have that, you know. And but also when I started, it was like 12 by 12, 16 by 16s, like 24s by 24s. That was a large format. That was like, when we were getting those jobs, we were like, yo, we better not fucking get too many of these. Like, this better not become a trend. Now it's like 24.
The
Like,
larger, the better.
what? Yeah, I know. But like at the time, it's like you're so used to banging out Like the bathrooms we would do were 6x6s. You didn't do these 12x24s. They're 6x6. You bang out like if you had everything flat, good to go. I mean, with two guys, you could eat boom, boom in a day, like knock out the installation. Maybe like a couple cuts, whatever, niche the next day. But it was just different back then. They didn't really do niches that much, and it was bullnose fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have like jolly trim.
So let me get your thoughts on that. Do you, as far from an installer perspective, not a design perspective, do you prefer the bullnose or do you prefer the jolly?
It really depends on the
Depends
job.
on the tile.
It depends on the job
Oh,
too.
true,
Like, there's some jobs where like it depends on the like what's going on that job site. How like I don't know. Sometimes it's easier to just throw some bullnose up, you know, really quick.
I would say it's like 80-20. You know, 80% you're gonna put up the trim, but 20% you'll probably use that bull nose.
Yeah, I mean, no, I haven't used bullnose in I don't even know how long. Like
Forever.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I tell my clients all the time, which makes sense. I mean, they came out with the jolly trim because these tile manufacturers, they're making this tile, and now they have to fabricate bullnose for the specific pieces. And you don't always need that many linear feet of bullnose for the shower. So it's like it's kind of unproportionate, and they end up being left with a whole lot of bullnose, you know. So it's like they overproduce material that they don't really need. With the trim, it's more universal. You can it's a finish that can adapt to any tile, you know. Then you can get like versatile with it. You can do like brushed nickel, you can do polished chrome, you can do black, you can do PVC even, you know, they have all
and then you have different profiles too.
Correct. You know, you have different profiles. Yeah, correct.
Finishes, yeah.
So I mean, it's like, you know, it just the customization is more versatile nowadays. And then, you know, you tie that in with your scutcheon and your shower, your sink, faucets and all that shit, you know.
So your first bathroom, how was that experience? What was going through your head?
So
First time getting on that kind of job.
The company that I worked for at the time, I'm not going to state names, but they just did shit like run and gun, like fuck it, you know. So when I started doing bathrooms, it was not the correct way. It was not waterproof correctly. Like it was not, you know. And it was weird because like at the time I didn't really have videos and stuff where I would educate myself. So I didn't really know better, you know. It would be like Duroc and like just seam tape, and you would thin set that, and you know, and or like the mesh tape, but like you thin set that, and even still, like that's not enough. It's still gonna crack, you know. Like there was no membrane on that, whether it be liquid or sheet, you know. So bathrooms, we did them really quick. You know, they were done. They look great. You know, I'm not sure if the first like in that, but that was like the first couple. Like once we were doing a couple, I really started getting into it. I hyper obsess. I go down my own rabbit holes. I do my own research. And so like once I started realizing like, wait a minute, you know, like
we're doing this all wrong.
Well, because the thing is, when I demoed a shower is when I realized like how wet the mortar was. I was like, why is this so wet? You know, like and the water was just chilling there. You know, it was moldy as hell. I'm like, this isn't right. It should be draining. You know?
Yeah, demoing failed showers is probably one of the best like educational things.
As soon as I did that, I was like, okay. I just kept asking questions, and he was like, oh, the water just gets through. I'm like, it can't. What was it? It just sits here, you know? So it's like
I went down a rabbit hole recently, and Jeremiah knows about this. So Duroc, right? If you go and read their literature, because that's what I'll do. I'll go and read their literature, letter for letter. So they literally lawyer this one so perfectly, where it's like, it is water resistant. However, if you have a material that will be harmed by moisture behind it, you must waterproof it. That is the most loyal way of saying it needs to be waterproofed. Without saying it needs to. So
I mean,
and that's
just a sheet of cement.
Right.
I mean,
so that was the reason was because I met another contractor who basically wants to sub his waterproofing to me because I spun his head around when I was like, oh yeah, we have all these multiple ways of waterproofing now.
And there's guys that do that.
Right. He's like, I'm
strictly waterproof. No, I mean,
right. He's like,
because they do it correctly.
Yeah. So he was like, I'm only doing mud and cement board for the past 15 years. I was like, so how did you waterproof it? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, you got to waterproof the cement. He's like, you do? He's like, it's waterproof. I'm like, it's water resistant. There's a difference. So I had to go look at it. You know,
for like my first year, I never thought that water got through grout lines. You know, I didn't. You know, for the first year. I mean,
No
like I
one
said,
tells you that. Yeah.
I came out of high school, like I didn't give a shit. I wasn't really trying to learn a trade. I was trying to make money, you know. But then like like that's when I went into the ironworkers is when I really like started to enjoy it. And then tiling, same thing. But at first, like I didn't really do my research, and we didn't do bathrooms in the beginning, you know, as much. It was just floors. We just did 2,500, 3,000 square foot floors. Like, you know, we even did like there's times where we worked with them at pay grout and like added too much water and it was like, discolored, and it was like 2,600 square feet of
discolored grout
of the charcoal. And this was before it came out with the Ultra Color Plus FA. It was like the unsanded or the sanded, and it was 6x36 tiles. You can imagine the amount of grout lines, and we had to like color everything again with that grout refresh stuff. I don't know if you guys have used that before.
Yeah, is that the stuff you get from Home Depot?
I don't know if Home Depot has it. I thought
Laticrete has a kit too.
Because Home Depot doesn't carry Matt Pay products.
No, Lowe's does.
Lowe's does.
Yeah, Lowe's carries it.
I know Custom Brands has a grout like kit like that too.
Enhancer. Yeah.
The only thing I've used from Custom Brands is Versabond. That's actually great. Good. I love that.
Have you used it recently?
I haven't used it recently.
So
nice.
me and Omar swear up and down they've changed that formula. It is so much like tackier now.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's
like
at
all.
I've always like honestly like that's their best thin set at Home Depot, and it's a great thin set. That's like it's better than a lot of these thin sets. Like I don't know, right? We've been on this project that we've been doing with the travertine. We've been using the 254 Platinum, but you know that shit's super. It's the same way. That shit. Anything it touches, it's just there. You know.
Yeah.
It's a part of anything that it comes in contact.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Because we had this conversation before. Because I still use Versabond in most of my installation, unless I'm using like Schluter, like uncoupling membranes, and I use their stuff just because of their own product stuff. But most of the time for the wall tiles, if you're using like Goldboard, Versabond's good. It's a good thin set. But like he said, we mixed it. And first I noticed, I was like, why is it so watery? Like it was really, the consistency was completely different.
Yeah.
Not as sandy as you're used to. Like if you remember when you dumped the bucket, there was like sand left over. It's actually smoother now. It's like creamier. So I was like, they changed the consistency.
Yeah, I don't know if you've got the chance to use the Sika stuff, but me and Harry were talking about that stuff. It's kind of like the Sika thin set, the new Versabond stuff, man. It's like, it's a little, I'd say the Sika stuff is a little bit creamier than what like the Schluter stuff is.
Yeah.
But my go-to is using the Sika 475 or the Schluter, but
I actually have yet to use all set. I have never used all set, and it's not because I'm against it.
Really?
No, I'm not against.
No, all set.
I haven't used it. I use Laticrete or Laticrete or Mapei. You know, like those are my two favorite. And like I said, sometimes like in my videos I'll have like Versabond, and you'll have guys that comment and talk about it, whatever, like Home Depot. But
that's because you bought it from a box store.
Well, I have clients that like
question.
They want like if they're gonna purchase the materials, but they most of the time they have like a Home Depot credit card. They want to put it on that, So like I have to purchase from there, Like whether I don't know what they want me to do, like turn down the work, like it's a great thin set. It really is. I'll back it up all day.
If it meets the ANSI standard, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Switching gears from thin set to grout, permacolor. Do you use that stuff often?
I have down here. Most of my builders, designers, everybody I work with, everybody just uses Mapei. It's weird, and it's not even like they mean to, but they just do.
I refuse to use Mapei. I can't stand it.
Well, that's like where Jordan.
Mapei is like the first grout I ever used, and that stuff was super easy to use, man.
It's a rapid setting, so like you just got to mix a little at a time. I take like a really small bucket, and I'll do like a quarter of that bucket, not the 3.5 gallon bucket, even smaller than that, and still mix like a quarter of it. When I'm doing backsplashes, I just use the arm length rule, which if I'm getting like an arm length away from it, then I'll come back and I'll clean it, and I know I'm always good, as long as it's set up enough to where I can wipe it down.
Yeah, you learn quick with that stuff.
I did that too. I was like spreading it all over the wall, and I was like, hold up a second. this thing's not coming out. So there's probably I gotta.
You'll be breaking the grinder out to get that off.
So I was like, I actually carry polishing brushes for that reason with the drill. I'm like, okay, here we go.
And honestly, and I'm not gonna lie, once it sets up, like it's a pain, and you got to put so much elbow grease into it, but you can't get cleaner lines. Like because like you're almost sanding it down for it to be perfectly flush with the tile, you know, as opposed to wiping it out of the joint, you know.
That's kind of what I was trying to get at with the whole permacolor, because I just used that stuff for the first time, and I followed the directions on the bag to the T. But when it was time to, well, not so much, but it said to let it sit for that half hour before you wipe it that first time, and I'm like, damn, it's only 76 degrees outside. Why is this stuff set so hard? Like
it
took so much.
Too.
No, wait for it to haze over. I always wait for it to haze a bit, and if you touch the grout, if it doesn't pull or move when you touch it, wipe it.
Start wiping.
Yeah, but I mean, damn, man, it's a lot of elbow grease to get that shit wiped.
I almost like pinch my sponge and just barely, like, I mean, it depends on the grout. Some of them you got to put a little more pressure on it. But like sometimes I'm just literally gliding my sponge over the tile.
Right.
But that new permacolor they put in the blue bags, that stuff is rapid setting, right?
No, I think they just changed.
I don't know.
But
I did like that it said it was silicon dust free.
It's rapid setting.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Harry. Did you use the permacolor or did you use the permacolor select, which is where you have to dye your grout?
No, just it was already
in the bag.
Because I swear up and down that the permacolor select sets up faster than the standard permacolor.
The 1600 does.
Yeah, well, that's because it's unsanded. That stuff sets up quick. It's like oobleck. If you let it sit for too long, you got a brick.
Yeah, it's like FA, literally.
Use MAPE on all my jobs, and anytime a client asks me which one, you know, or they say you grab the grout, I have a MAPE color chart in my truck that I carry with me all the time. So anytime I'm collecting grout colors, that's normally what I pull out. It's tried and true. I do, you know, it's
the only thing I like is the Latacrete silicone selector. They got it cleans so much easier than the MAPE.
Oh yeah,
the Latacrete is clean. Yeah, the MAPE stuff. There's two, I guess. I didn't know there was a difference. And each one, like I would go and spray my the mixture to wipe it, and as I'm wiping, the whole line comes off. I'm like, oh come on, man.
And that's the worst because once it's wet, now you gotta like really dry it off.
Now you gotta wait. Like here we go. Subway, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
See, and this is kind of interesting. I went up with Omar. I'm up here with Omar, kind of collabing and helping him out for a month, and I was up here in June. And I'm so used to the Latacrete grout. I mean, I've used the MAPE FA. I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there grouting, thinking that it's gonna dry like the Latacrete. And Walmart's coming in like, "What are you doing?"
It was like a 6-foot wall, and I walk in. I'm like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm grouting." I'm like, "And you're not wiping?"
Yeah.
So like,
no,
you literally
waiting
should
for
be.
You to come back to wipe it.
Dude, I told her, I was like, you grout and you wipe. You grout and you wipe. Instantly.
Wax on, wax off, baby. Mr. Miyagi.
Especially here, it's hot.
Mr.
Like, it was
Miyagi.
really hot that day. I was like,
hey, you wax on, you wipe off. You grout on, wipe off.
Yeah.
Light up the
eyes,
boys.
One thing that I will say though, man, I did forget my grout bucket at home, and after using that thing and not using it, I'm like, oh my god, grouting without that thing sucks.
The Ruby grout
bucket?
I haven't used those. I haven't used those.
Oh man, it's like driving a Cadillac, bro. That shit is amazing.
It is, and like honestly, I actually use the technique of their sponges all the time when I clean my grout. So I'll take my own I take my box knife, and what I'll do is I'll make a grid into my own sponge. It's actually
oh shit.
Yes, I mean just like how they have it, because if you think about it, it's the edges that are catching grout and wiping off excess. So the reason that it catches so much grout and it wipes so much is because each edge of each little cube, it's like if you were to grab 10 sponges at once and wipe with those, So it's going to catch in all of those cracks and all of those crevices. So I do that to sponges all the time, and it doesn't have to be. You don't have to like cut half into it. Like you just have to score it.
Yeah.
Literally just like
That's some simple, but that's some genius ass shit, bro.
Yeah,
See,
take it.
I've done that because I was too cheap to get the bucket, and it works better. But at least for me, the bucket still works a lot better, especially
No, it is. But I mean,
bring the
real
water
quick,
out.
like on the fly, if you just have a sponge, like
Oh yeah,
what I'm saying is, like I haven't used the bucket yet, but like I've played with those sponges before at the store. Like anytime, like I've seen them, I stay up to date with just about all the new products that come out for tile installation. So, and I pick up on things like that, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I did it on mine, and I see like literally when you open up your sponge, you'll see that every single little square has a buildup there. You know, that's what makes it better.
Word, yeah.
For me, it's the fact that you can push the whole. Well, first the handle. You know what I mean. So you're not holding the actual sponge; you're holding a handle. And then when you push it in the bucket, it has a net underneath that helps you push water into the sponge and the rollers. So, because I remember the first time I grouted, I was like, my hands were like from squeezing the sponge
Plus,
so much.
You're always like throwing,
roll it, stand it in the bucket, and it's just draining into the bucket. By the time you do what you gotta do, you come back, wipe it. Having a separate bucket, it's huge. And it's
it is.
It's like $30, $40. It's not very expensive.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
it's
with where I'm going now, you know, I'm really not going to be using many tools from here on forward, anyways. But I get it. Like I do like to get it for my guys to kind of I know, you know, to just streamline everything. So like I bought that mortar mixer. I spent like $900 on that. Best investment I ever did. You know, like
you're doing that much tile.
How many bags you putting in there of like self leveler?
I haven't done self leveler in there yet. We're just throwing Type S mortar in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like.
Where'd you get a mixer from? Where'd you get it from? Harbor Freight or no?
No, so there's a local, like a family-owned store here that's called America's Tile and Marble Supply, and I've been going there for over 10 years. Monica and her husband, they're just, I mean, and they're huge in this area. All the tile installers go there every year. At the end of the year, they do a barbecue for their guys. Like they treat the community here and the locals here, installers, very, very well. So I give all my business to them, all my business.
So I'm kind of glad you kind of went back to that because I wanted to ask earlier. So since you're not installing anymore, I know you said you're kind of more like project managing, but like, so
project managing, work, you know, thinking about like the content creation. I'm working on a product right now that I'm actually going to be getting a sample here. I should hopefully be getting that within the next month or so with my logo.
Hevi trials.
Huh?
Hevi
trials. He said.
No, not trials.
Ironically, they're lightweight. No.
HUD's is killing that right now. I got to get one of those, man. Those things look sweet.
What does?
Who?
HUD's. Yeah. His trials.
Yeah, those are nice.
Oh yeah.
I think it's Rafina that he collabed with or something like that, right?
Yeah, Rafina.
Yeah.
Well, when you do get your product, do come here. It's a good way to advertise it.
No, yeah. I mean, don't worry. When I get it, and it's nothing crazy state of the art, but it is something that doesn't really exist.
It's like it's a heavy trial, but
it's not a trial. It's not a trial.
Don't listen to Donnie, man.
But it's something that's going to be useful for not just the tile industry. That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's going to be very useful for the tile industry, but it's also going to be useful for mechanics. It's going to be useful for plumbers. It's going to be useful for even gardeners. It's going to be useful for a lot of different trades, which is the best part about it. It's not just going to be strictly for the tile industry. So
I think he made it in Alex.
No, he made it, Alex. Cloned an Alex.
So these jobs that you're project managing, are people like just strictly hiring you to project manage their? No,
they're hiring me. They know it's going to be the standard of quality that I hold my jobs up to. You know, they know that I'm going to be doing it just like how Hevi Tile does. It's not me personally installing it, which that was the hardest thing for me to kind of transition because everybody wants the guy in the video. Everybody wants the guy that's doing that work.
Yeah.
So I just tell them, hey, you know, and some bathrooms I've lost a couple bids, not just bathrooms, but bids in general because of that, where they're like, no, if it's not you, I don't want it. Well, you know, but unfortunately, and you know, backsplashes even I was doing for a little bit. It got to a point where I was only doing backsplashes. I was subbing, you know, I was pretty much giving everything off or passing everything off, bathrooms, floors. But then I would be there and I would get a call and there'd be an issue on the job site. And now I'm worried. Now I can't focus on my backsplash. Plus, I'm not on the job. So I'm not, it would drive me crazy. And I hate when I feel like I'm not in control. And it's just like, yeah. I mean, there's things that are out of my control, but those things were in my control. And it was out of my control because of poor decisions on my part. So I said, listen, like, it's not worth me installing and going through this. Like, it's either the clients are going to want it or they're not going to want it, you know, like
well, you're essentially hit the road of, do I continue to install and stay this size, or do I grow and focus on the business? Because you can't really do both.
And the thing is, when you first start off, I'm going to make less money than if I install, right? Because margins are a lot lower. But
that's
getting
investment.
Exactly. But getting 2 to 3 jobs at a time, I can pretty much break even with what I make installing, right? If I can do 2 jobs at a time or so, 3 jobs at a time or so. But now I'm making what I made when I was installing, but now I have time to go out and chase my own work. I have time to go out to different shows.
Actually do all like the behind the scenes stuff.
Exactly. So it's like, which is all trying to scale this thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it is an investment, you know. At first I was only getting 1 job at a time, so I'm making less. I'm paying the guys well. I'm even giving them lunch. I'm waterproofing myself. This job that these guys are doing the floors, I was doing the waterproofing myself so that we can flood test, you know. So like I'm still doing whatever I can to help out, but for the most part, I'm like in the middle of that transitioning out. The fireplace was actually, I only did that because I could not get I just didn't want to put that in anybody's hands, you know, and I didn't I didn't want to leave that job. That's why I did the fire. I was like,
now how hard was that transition?
It's still a little difficult. You know, I was just on a job recently, the bathroom that I just posted today, that the guy wants to go tile over tile. He asked me the same thing. He said, "What guarantee do I have that the job is going to turn out just as good as, you know, like the ones you do in the video, you know?" And I was like, I can't really give you a guarantee. You know, I can just tell you like that, you know, my main focus is your satisfaction and building relationship with you, because he's actually a designer. He owns a private showroom, a private tile showroom. And you know,
private?
Yeah, it's the first one I've ever heard of. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. He says, yeah. So he says that you know, he asked me that question. He says, like, how do I know? I was like, well, listen, I can't promise you. All I can say is that I communicate every step of the way. I'm going to be here for the layout process. Like, if you can trust me, then I'll show you. But there's no way that I can prove to you yet. I showed him a bathroom that I had an installer do for me. His name's Diego. I showed him a bathroom that he did where he did the envelope cuts in the shower pan and everything lined up with the wall perfect, and it was the same cuts. And I told him I was a part of the whole layout process. My plumber on that job, actually, he did a really bad job with the valve. He actually put it like out of plumb, which that was the only job he had, and he managed to do that. So I called him back. I held the job up. I called him back. When he came back to fix it, he broke the shut off for the toilet because everything was CPVC, so it's super fragile.
Oh shit!
So it just turned into like this big thing. But like, if it's not how I want it, like, we're not moving forward, you know?
See,
right.
I was curious to see how you were going to approach that, because I'm somewhat, I guess, in a smaller scale of that transition. So I'm being more of a GC and an installer. So I have a guy that is on my team that he does the tile install, but I'm also doing the installs and the company side of things. And I've so far had 2 customers that have specifically asked, like, do you do the work? And I was like, well, me and my team do the work. It just depends on the scheduling. And he was like, but do you do the work? I'm like, well, it'll be up to my standards, and it's my team. So, you know, yes, I'm very particular who I have on my team and who I have do tile work under my name and reputation. So, and at the end of the day, I mean, you're going to do the walkthrough with your sub. And if you don't like something, you know, you're going to fix that before you even do a walkthrough with the homeowner.
And as long as you can deliver, then eventually you'll get into that position. You know, it's just all a matter of, are you delivering?
Well,
you know, like I'm doing this.
That's basically the answer to that question would be like, I can guarantee you that if it doesn't pass my standards, I'm not going to close it out.
Well, because then if they come back with, well, if he's gonna do it, why am I paying you? I can just pay him directly. Well, then go ahead and communicate with them.
Go ahead.
Then it's fine, because like I'm gonna make sure that even if I lose, even if I have to do something that's gonna put me, even if I have to take an L at the end of this job to make it right, I will do that.
Mm-hmm.
Will they? Probably not. They'll probably jump ship, be like, "Fuck this, I'm out." So it's like that's the guarantee. And people that value, like, it's like you're gonna get that guarantee. That's almost like you're an insurance that you're paying for that job. I'm almost like the insurance, So it's
that's also
they're
that's
paying
also
a little
the thing
extra,
too.
but they know it's gonna be done right.
Right.
Like buying a product, like if you don't buy the insurance, like it could break on you, and then you're fucked. You don't have to get the insurance, but if something goes wrong, that's up to you. That's on you. That's kind of what I am. So I just try to tell them that if I have somebody that try to undervalue me or whatever, I say, well, listen, then I'm just not the contractor for you. Like, this is what I need to do to run my business effectively, and I'm not going to be able to work with every client. I'm not for every client, and I choose.
You can't please everybody,
Plus, I choose them. I'm not gonna undervalue myself. I'm just gonna say, hey, listen, have a great day. It was a pleasure, and that's it. I'm gonna choose not to work with them because that's not the client that I want to work for.
With talking with that customer about that job, would that be like, do you sit there and go, okay, this is probably something that I'm gonna have to do myself?
No.
Or do you sit there and still they're gonna that trust in him to let your guys take care of it?
I have to move I have a one mission
obligated to
business, man.
Yeah.
So like I'm not gonna allow somebody just because they want me and be like, fuck, I guess I have to. No, like this is how we do for this to run effectively.
Well, it's a relationship.
it's just okay. Well, then if you want me to do it, I'm sorry. Like, I would love to do your bathroom. Bathrooms are my favorite thing, but I can't be tied up on a job site when I have one or two other jobs going on. I can't.
Well, they have to trust you. I mean, if they want you, then they're gonna have to get you at where you're at in your position.
Like I said, I'm the insurance in a sense, I haven't.
Hey, do you think that? Sorry, go ahead. Finish your answer.
No, like I have 3 installers right now on the job, and they're all Spanish speaking. They speak English and they can communicate a little bit, but it's just like when it comes to talking about details and layout planning and like the real key stuff, communication's huge, and like, so it's just like I said, it's just a guarantee,
Yeah. And speaking Spanish is real good down in Florida.
What was that?
I said speaking Spanish is good to know down in Florida.
Yeah, and my Spanish is horrible, believe it or not. You think that it's amazing, but it's horrible. I mean, it's Portuguese, but like I don't even realize it,
I'm trying to learn Portuguese, man. It's beneficial here. But my question earlier was going to be, do you think that because your social media, you're the face of Hevi Tile, do you think that kind of are these customers finding you through your social media or no?
Yeah, he found me through my social media. He actually, one of the reasons he wanted to hire me is because he saw that I waterproof correctly. I do everything the right way, and he's familiar with the weedy system and all that. So that's why I'm big on it. Like I said in my stories earlier today, I'm big on pushing that and emphasizing, like, leverage this shit, like use it. Like, it's free. It's free. Like,
yeah. So because you are very good at social media, so do you think that maybe when you're building a brand, maybe your face in that sense probably shouldn't be the I guess the face of the brand? Like, maybe.
Well, he's on that shit.
It doesn't matter. I mean, regardless, like, I somewhat am the brand. Like, when I show up to the job, or I am.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's gonna be done to my standard. I go through the whole layout process. Like, for now, it is.
That's kind of like I'm noticing with your situation and brand now. It's like Epic Tile and Stone is another guy.
Correct.
Sure,
yeah, exactly.
So
it's very similar to that.
Right. So you're essentially moving from Hevi Tile installations installer to Hevi Tile installations. That little shift where it's like you're getting my company, you're not getting me.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
You're getting Hevi
Same
Tile.
Thing what Jordan's trying to do.
You're getting Hevi Tile. It's like it's you're getting that brand's work, you know?
Yeah.
And with that, like when somebody's, as I've had that before too, they're like, why don't I hire that person and hire you and not hire you? I'm like, well, you're not just hiring me for my skilled labor. You're hiring me for the convenience of not having to deal with all the nuance of small details. This goes here, layout, this. You can go straight to that guy. But now it's going to be you and that guy having that communication versus me and that guy relaying it to you. So the convenience factor too.
And especially when it comes to like issues, like it's one thing to know how to install tile. Like it's one thing to know that you key it into the substrate, you trowel it, and you set it. It's a different thing to come into issues on a job site and know how to solve them. To come into things where like you have to think like, okay, like it's just breaking it down, like what, like in bathrooms, for example, if you have to replace subfloor or whatever, you have to sister studs, or you know, it's a lot of guys don't know how to do that. They just know how to throw the fucking wallboard up and fucking tile it, and that's it. They don't know.
That's something I've noticed too, where
That's good.
You'd be surprised how many people don't.
There's tile installers and there's professionals. Professionals,
right? And that's
everything. Knowing how to install
the big thing I see is a lot of people, especially when it comes to bathrooms, plumbing walls isn't the biggest thing in the world. They're like, is glass going there? Like, yes. Is it custom glass? Yes. Then it doesn't need to be plumbed, right? Which to an extent they're right, but at the same time it's like, fix it. You know,
it's not even just that. It's like if you're doing a small subway tile and like you'll
see it
out on the bottom, you're gonna see it on the cuts once you get there. It's just gonna fucking go on you. So it's like it's an aesthetic thing, you know. It's even if there isn't,
it turns into a sliver.
It's a fucking work of art in a sense, and you want to make it as perfect as you possibly can. Is it going to be? Probably not, but
within reason. Yeah,
part of it's an illusion. If it looks good,
there's something I can look back on every job and be like, man, I probably should have done that a little bit differently. I don't give a fuck who you are. Everybody has that on the job. Nobody posts videos has a perfect fucking job every time.
You're the only one that notices.
We are our biggest critics, man.
You know, so it's like, and as long as what I love about social media is that it holds you accountable. If you would even think of doing it wrong, but you want to make a video on it, you're probably not going to because you're making a video on it. So even though it's probably only because of the video, in a sense, it does hold you accountable. You know,
if you do it wrong on video, the internet is ruthless and they will let you know.
They'll scare you a new one, you know. But it's not even about that because, like, I don't care about ruthlessness, you know, goals or not.
But
it's just
your conscience should.
It just helps you like discipline yourself to just always do a good job no matter what, you know. Like I just look at a job as if I was doing it for my own mother. If you always look at a job that way, I'm telling you, you won't skip details. Like it's that way. Not even yourself, your mother. Excuse me, I love mine. I don't know, but I have a.
You know, recently that was the thing that me and Jeremiah learned here, especially here in New York. It's a little bit different. You know, I'm learning that a lot of people don't sub work out here. They basically come and farm you for work, which is kind of messed up. But 3 things that I've noticed is 1, we don't charge enough. That's 1. That's a dead, like even when you think you're not, you are. The second one is most installers are doing things that we are not doing. They're putting up, like I said, cement boards and slap and go, even spot bonding. Like the conversation I had.
That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part, though, is just like finding those clients. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that is the hardest. Well, I think conveying is the hardest part.
Not necessarily because, like, there's people that they're just trying to get some cheap work and they want the best stuff. Like they just don't want to pay a whole lot, but they want you to do it to the highest standard, you know?
What'd you say, Omar? Champagne taste and beer money?
Champagne with beer money. Yeah.
Sometimes I have options in my pricing. Like I have options whether you want sheet waterproofing or liquid waterproofing. I have options whether you want to go with like foam system or Durox. So like there's even price packages. So like maybe you want to. That way, if they hit me with, "Oh, I only have this much," well, great, we can do Duroc and Redguard here if you like, you know. So it's like I'll still kind of get the job. Like it's not like, well, no, we should do it with this product, and if they don't want to do it, I just lose it altogether, you know.
Right.
You don't have to use your preferred stuff.
No, you use what fits the job.
You don't have to use your preferred stuff. You're just trying to get the job.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well,
no.
What I tell the customers is like I'm more than willing to adjust your pricing to work with to change material. I'm not going to bargain you on labor. to change material as long as it meets TCNA standards. I'm not going to put tile just straight.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like you just have to educate them on those things. Like as long as like you said, it meets TCNA standards, ANSI, whatever you're using for the waterproofing membrane, for like Guru, it's got to be like ANSI, I don't know, A118.15, something like that.
Yeah.
So
15.
like you have to, as long as it meets all those, then I'll tell them these are your options. For this, for applying this membrane here, this is the option for this. For most of the time they just let me take care of it, so I just take care of it. But if not, I'll say, hey, we can use this for the tile, but if you want the lifetime warranty for this, we have to use this. So I'll educate them as far as that goes as well.
But with the high-end customer clientele, I'm finding myself, because I'm in an area where it's high-end. The houses here are easily 3,000 square feet and up, and they're probably worth $500,000 and up.
Yeah.
The first thing is the art of saying no that I'm learning. No, say no to those jobs that you shouldn't take, because the rule of thumb is you take that small paying job. What happens the minute you step on the job site? The big job calls you. Now you're stuck.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I need you tomorrow. And you're like, oh, I can't. No, thank you. Boom, next guy.
It's just a compounding effect,
Yeah, so I'm learning that myself. And then also I need to look into builders, because everybody works at builders and that stuff. I find my own work.
Builders have a lot of work, man, and it's always and it's big homes. Like builders don't, that's yeah.
They don't have a builders association where you're at, Omar?
I haven't looked into it, dude. Like that's the thing. I haven't looked into it. I've never really the most I've ever done is more like floor and decor. And I see the girls who drive the nice BMW or Mercedes. I'm like, okay, they're the ones getting the big clientels. So I gotta talk to them.
Yeah, I keep telling Donnie, man, we got to try to get. Well, you guys can't participate, but here there's one they do like meet and greets. They do like brunch events. They have
what do you mean? I can drive down there. You're only like 3 hours away from me.
But
when Omar lets you free.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think that the hardest part is finding clients that see your value without you having to prove to them your value. Because when you have to sit there and like prove really hard to them, that's probably not the client that you want. I think that like that's coming, circling back to social media, like Instagram is what helped me a lot with my leads, because like I get so many leads. And because like, let's say, for example, if you get 4 leads a day, maybe one of them will convert to a quote, and maybe, you might not even get that job. Now, if I'm getting 10 leads a day, maybe 4 of them will convert to a quote, and one of those quotes will convert to a job, So like the more leads you can get, the better chances and the more work you can get, right? Like the biggest thing is leads. I haven't gotten into SEO yet, but I have started watching videos on it. I just haven't started implementing the actions for it because I don't need it yet. But in order for me to get employees, I'm definitely going to start looking into that.
So listen to Harmanzi for that.
Yeah, no, I follow Alex.
He's huge with the whole SEO.
Yeah, I watch. Yeah, trust me, I watch all these guys.
Podcast. I started listening to his first podcast, like the gym stuff, the very first one. It's like so cringy as hell. He's so
cringy. That's really like the biggest thing. Really is just like getting those leads, because one of the reasons it's hard for us to find builders and that we end up going with these clients that we undercharge ourselves or undervalue ourselves is because we need work. You know what I mean? Like we need to work, and so most of the time, like you don't have a job for that week or the following, and they're like, if you knock off $1,000, and you're like, well, fuck, what's better, like $7,000 or what's better, going for 7 and maybe not getting anything, or accepting 6, And so like when you have those leads and enough work, you don't make those hasty decisions, like you're not like you can easily show up to a job and be like, this is the price. Oh, well, I can't. I'm sorry. This is the best I could do. If I could, I would have done something better. Oh, well, the best I can do is if we don't do, the Guru shower system, you want to do Durock and Red Guard, but then you have to buy the material. Like it's just like there's no negotiating with me. As soon as I give you a price, that's what it is. Like I don't negotiate.
I've said that to Omar too.
And my clients know that, and it's like, and I lose 80% of my bids because of that that mentality, and they're like, oh, well, I don't know. Because if I'm giving you a price and this is what it costs for me to run, especially if you found me on Instagram and you see the kind of work that I do and you're trying to bargain me down, what kind of client are you? If you're doing this now, start the job,
that's the client you don't need.
Imagine how much you're gonna fucking nitpick towards the end of it, you know? So
I mean, every change order, they're gonna fight you too.
Although, well, that is a red flag as far as like having a customer is going to be hard. But with the book, it's the FBI negotiator book. You got to read it because it has to do with this negotiation. It basically is a dance, and he was like, most people will say negotiate with you just to see if they can get something out of it, not necessarily that they don't have.
How many times I've hung up the phone, and it's just like if you have like you almost treat it like you would your girlfriend or like it's just you don't accept things in a relationship that go against what you value. It's the same thing with business. If you're trying to undervalue, like no, that's not how this works.
No, that's politely say, listen, this is what it is. That's it. Because I noticed that
to accept it. Just like I don't have to work with you. You know what I mean?
It happened with Jeremiah where somebody was like, oh, what if we split the difference on this amount? I'm like, no.
Literally just yesterday.
I've gotten those jobs. Like I've gotten plenty of those in the beginning. And like every single time, halfway through the job, I can't tell you how many times I've told myself that this is the last time that I'm fucking doing this. I've done that so many times because like, but I'm just in situations where like, dude, I need the money. Like, am I getting fucked on it? I am, but like I paid my rent that month, you know, or I was able to pay my car. So it's just like, but it's things that I keep in the back of my head where it's like, I can't wait till the day that I can choose my fucking clients because like, I'm not going to be getting fucking stepped on like this, you know?
Well, so, I guess it would be wise, I should say, like Joe Rogan said, save enough money to create a window where you can do that, where you can be like, okay, for the next 6 months, I'm gonna say no to all those ones and only yes to my good ones.
That's what that's where I've been at for like pretty much like this year, you know, like last year I was already going down that path, but like this year it was just like, it was like towards the beginning of last year actually. I was already doing that, and have I lost a lot of work? I have, but like sometimes I'll be home for a week, right? No work, or 2 weeks, no work. But when I land a job, that just made up for those 2-3 weeks that I was at home because it's at the price that I want, you know? And so it's like, boom, that just helped me survive a little bit. So sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to make it. Not lately, but before. Sometimes I'd be like, I don't even know how I'm going to make it, but I'm just going to be firm on this, you know? It's like,
and then soon enough, you'll be landing those same jobs. Like boom, boom.
You manifest it. Boom. You end up manifesting it, like you said, because I have an open schedule. So when that big job calls or the guy that values my work calls and he hits me up, boom, we're out. Like the James Cross builder, they found me on Instagram. I literally told them they wanted me to go to Miami. I put the job in my GPS, and I was like, dude, this is an hour and a half away from me. It's a 3-hour round trip every day, and that's without traffic. I looked at that the route at night. And me, I'm not going to deal with traffic because I'm going to get there with my anxiety through the fucking roof, like dealing with that start-stop all day.
Our traffic is the same with me and Harry.
which is going to cloud my thinking process on the job, which will I could possibly make mistakes. So that's going to affect the quality of that project just because I have to drive every day and make that commute. So I told him,
morale.
I said, I was like, aside from what the quote is, if you can put us in housing, whether it be an Airbnb or a hotel, doesn't have to be the nicest one, put us 10 minutes away from the job site for however long, and under one condition, I have to take my dog. I literally said that because I wasn't leaving my dog behind.
Hey, where is the dog, by the way?
She's out there because she'll be scratching and I put her outside. But and guess what? They paid for it. They literally paid for Airbnb. Allowed a dog. Because they wanted. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, because they wanted the work and they saw the quality, and that job went phenomenal. There was actually the same builders that I did the fireplace for, so it was just I built a relationship with them on the job I did last year. The green bathroom I just posted, there was like 4 bathrooms and like 2 powder rooms that I did in this like just this huge concrete mansion in Miami, and
yo guys. Coming up on an hour for me, so I got to get out of here.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming on here.
Keep going.
Hevi, it was fun, man. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Have a good night, brother. It was good talking to you.
You too, man. Later. I'm sorry we didn't get to talk to you, BJJ, man, but Maybe next time.
That's all right. Maybe
All
they'll
right,
have
man.
questions for you. You know.
Yeah, I have fun later.
Take it easy.
That's it.
So the thing that I am
Actually,
learning myself,
got a little bigger here.
yeah, the thing that I'm learning now is not having the fear to ask. Because a lot of, I guess, the new guys, especially me, I'm newer into the whole contracting world, essentially, not construction, but the fear of like, man, are they gonna say no? Maybe I should adjust this. Maybe I should that. Maybe I shouldn't ask for this. So I've gotten to the point where, like, listen, the worst thing you can do is get no.
Exactly.
Okay. Then we either move on from there, lose the job. So that's why, I tell these guys, I'm like, just ask.
And sometimes you get a no, but it's not a real. It's just a. It's a no.
It's like a question.
Yeah. What they'll do is they'll hit you with a no to see what your counter offer is going to be or what your rebuttal is going to be. And then you don't have one. They're like, okay, because it's like if a girl like cheats on me and then she just makes up some bullshit excuse, says sorry, and I forgive her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's if you don't, they want to see what your reaction is going to be. If they see that you're not going to chase them, they're like, oh fuck, all right, well maybe this guy's either really busy or is really good. But when you're hungry, the client can sense that. If I pull up to a job, like I said, like with the mixer, like the guys need a mixer, boom, $900, whatever. I'll buy a mud mixer for them. Now they're good. Like they can sense when you're cheaping out. They can sense when when you need that money. And when they can, they fucking latch onto you like a leech. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you say no, it's very powerful, very extremely powerful. And it's for business, for everything in life. You know, no is huge. Like that's one thing that you really, really like.
You gotta read that book. Read that book.
I'm telling you right now, I watch so many podcasts that like when I read these books, I'm like, I already think like this, you know.
So
like
you gotta listen to the book. Don't read it. Just listen to it.
Listen to it because this book was crazy. I read it because I had a lot of downtime, and essentially he's like, you want the no. He's like, you
have a lot of downtime.
No, you want the no because. The no shows you limits, shows you where you are, shows you where you stand. And it's never going to be a no, get out of my face. It's going to be a no, but, and then they're waiting for your response. Like you said, what's the negotiation factor? Sometimes they'll just be like, yeah, sure, why not? And like you are in your head, oh my God, this scenario. And most of us do that.
If you're a yes guy, you get stepped on. If you're always just like, yeah, oh yeah, sure, yeah, okay, yeah, oh yeah.
My problem.
You know,
you get shitted on for sure.
My problem, and Omar has seen this.
No, it means you have values. If you're not ready to say no, why are you negotiating? If you're not ready to say no, you should not be negotiating whatsoever.
Saying no works, but also being firm on it. And Omar has seen this where customer will say something, and I'll say no, and then. But then I always go into, all right, I'm already thinking of all the things they're going to say back to me, and I already got my response, and I'm talking to Omar in real time. And the problem is when I'm texting that, I'm already hitting them with all these rebuttals that they haven't even asked. And Omar's like, just tell them no. Wait for them to say something.
Just let them,
make them uncomfortable.
Let it marinate. You got to let that shit marinate. You got to wait for it to get good. You know, it's not ready to eat.
And that's what I'm learning. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say limits.
Necessary. It's not okay. Yes. It's necessary. Put that in your head.
It's not okay. Necessary. It's necessary. Right. So
when you need to.
Yeah, when you need to, of course. I mean, within reason. So, but I that's what I'm trying to translate with Jeremiah. I said, listen, tell them, like the guy was saying, oh, let's split the difference just so I can make this quote. Just be like, no.
Yeah.
This is not how I operate, and leave it at that. Because he was ready to give this whole like,
but I have a bigger project coming up.
Right.
So what I told him,
don't even go that route. Just literally no.
Yeah, what I'm saying, sometimes I'll be like, no, but I have this bigger one coming up, and that one I'll be like, no.
No, what I told them was like, I was like, hey, and unfortunately, between me and my crew, I can't compromise labor and the overhead for my business. What I can do is I can adjust your material, and I was like, we can get rid of your waterproof, flooring, the uncoupling membrane, and use a standard, Durock, and that will cut you about $400. And then I get a text the next morning. It was like, I talked with my wife. We'll go with the original thing. And then this morning they signed the contract and paid the deposit, 25% up front.
You'll be amazed at how often that happens, bro. That's business. Business is all about that's just what it is.
See, and I told you, most people do it just to see if they can get it, not because they don't have it. They just want to. It's almost like like a dance. They want to get that extra step. That's all they want to do. It's not that they don't have it. They're going to do it. They already got to this point.
Maybe that don't cry, don't get the tit. That's what we say, man. Like,
well, if they get this, then they're going to try to get a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit
What
more.
I also
You got to set
forget.
that boundary.
What I also forget is being on the other side of this transaction before. When you buy something used, right, you don't just run in and be like, yeah, I'll give you that price. It's like, yeah, what about, $100 less? And like, yeah, we'll do, what about 50? Like, that works. I was going to pay the original price anyway, but that's just, beer money. Now, that also being said, when you price stuff, you always price stuff a little bit higher in that case, because there's some wiggle room where if they talk you down, you'd be like, yeah, sure. And they feel like they got something over on you, but in all reality, this is as far as like selling products though, like not so much for business.
There's no wiggle room with me, bro. There's no, like, that's my price. That's it.
Extra $100, extra $150 because you asked a dumb question.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like,
Change order.
No, but I'm just saying, because like when you do that, then it allows them to just like try with every step of the fucking process of the project.
It automatically opens that gate.
Yeah, man. Like you just know. This is the price. If I could do a better price, I would have gave it to you, because that's the thing.
Right.
Sometimes they'll be like, well, so you can lower the price, so you're getting one up on me then. It's like, so it's like you create that distrust. I'm telling you, the no creates a lot of trust. Even like it's like I want a high value woman. I want to work with a high value client. I want to work with a high value friend. Like you want people that have values. I don't want somebody that's a client that, the client's not going to want to well, they will, but you don't want to work with somebody that like, you're just like, oh, you just do everything that they say, or they do everything that you say, like if you work with a builder and you see that they're like, listen, especially if they're respectable and they're reputable, it's different when some guy hands you a business card at a big box store and says, I do tile work, and he's like, this is my price. That's different. That's a completely different story. But like, I've been referred to you, or when you've seen my work, or the kind of stuff that I like, the kind of work that I do. You saw how highly this client spoke of me when they referred you to me, So it's like, the bathroom that I did for the tile that goes up on the wall, they were referred to me by 2 different companies in Delray Beach here in Florida. They went to this place called Granite Marble Design, which I do backsplashes for a lot, to purchase tile and ask if they knew somebody that did bathrooms. They referred Hevi Tile. They didn't buy the tile there. They went to another store looking for tile, D&B Tile. They went to D&B Tile here and to look for tile, and they asked them, hey, do you have anybody you prefer? They said Hevi Tile. So literally when she called me up, she's like, how could I go to anybody else? The 2 stores that I went to, they both said,
that right there is
so it's like,
huge.
There's certain things. I mean, it's different, but I 80% of my stuff is referral social. No, 100% is referral social media. I very rarely, I don't do any kind of billboard advertisements or advertise on anywhere that I get new random leads, or like Google or anything. It's just either social media where you see my work, or you've seen it in person and of me here, in the area.
Now, that also is something that it gets built over time, because without a doubt, beginning your company, you're probably some rough months, some ramen and rice in your past that you have to accumulate those referrals. So for me, especially being in a competitive area, I've got to subsidize that a little bit.
You do. And in the beginning I did. Subsidize. Like in the beginning I wasn't selective, like I said, this year is when I really went in end of last year is when I really went hard into the nose, because I was finally getting into a position where I could. Before I wasn't getting many leads, my Instagram is what generates a lot of leads. Even if my videos don't get a whole lot of views and engagement, it doesn't matter, because it just needs to reach the right person, and there's a lot of people that follow me that even if a video tanks, it doesn't matter, because that video just came out and they just saw that envelope shower pen and they're like, okay, let me call this guy up, so I still get a ton of leads, whether my actual videos are doing well or not. That's why I stay consistent with it. It's been harder to now because I'm not installing, and I can't be on the job site as much. So,
well, your Instagram is also a portfolio, and to the point where if a customer looks at it, and most of your stuff now is short content, so you get stuck. What is that? The swipe of death or swipe of doom? 15 seconds, dude. Your customers can go through 100 posts like it's nothing, and they see everything. They've got enough information, quality wise, to see that this guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So
Which also
even
gives
if you
you
just refer your Instagram to somebody.
Yeah.
How's that been for you too with the content creation? Because you're not doing the installation stuff, so you don't have that
It's been
people right
tough.
there to do it. So
It's been
you
really
try to
tough.
generate different stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when I pull up to the job sites, I try to get as many shots as I can. And I bought these shirts here, which these shirts aren't bad, but funny thing, like my plan was
know.
the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can, bro, I can still say these shirts sucked. Like they really not that they sucked. The material is really good, everything, but this QR code on the back, which a lot of people think is a great idea, outside in the sun is not a great idea. I had it installed in an outdoor patio, and man, I mean, he literally had like a tan line from it. Like it was really bad.
Wow.
So yeah, I have like 70 shirts coming in now, which are pretty much going to be uniforms. I'll have some left over. I should have a few extra, which I can hook you guys up with for sure.
Let us know. We'll send you a. We got.
No, and this one's just like a little QR code on the. Here, actually, I'll show you a little.
Yeah, no. So with the
sneak peek,
the two things with social media that I'm learning, I should say, is one is social media shows you success, but they don't show you the journey. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Dimitri. What's up, man?
Plus,
I like the green.
Well, see, that's another thing I'm big on. So, like, I realize that like my color is green. My shirts need to be green. Not whatever color with the green. No, the shirt has to be green. You have to pull up where even if you don't see a logo, you see green. You know.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is like I was thinking about that the other day. I was
like Odie right there. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta find
once Donnie's done, I want you to continue what you're gonna say, Heavy.
Yeah. You gotta find something that's gonna stick out.
Well, it's like it's just all about it's just branding. Like my color is green. Like why do you know DeWalt? Because it's fucking yellow. Like everywhere,
right.
It's yellow everywhere. It's like color is huge on color psychology is big for branding. Yeah. And so like that's kind of like the whole thing with that, and then like the logo on the back, and then like the QR on the sleeve.
That's
so just out of curiosity, Heavy. What color do you think, if you're going with your signature colors, what color do you think I should use for my company?
Huh? Do not say purple.
That's going to be a tough one, bro. I'm thinking, judging by the colors on your hat, either yellow or red.
No, so here's the thing with me is without the shirts, I mean, purple is my color, but everybody in all the time that I work knows me by this purple hat. Yeah. When it's like, hey, go to Jeremiah. Who's that? Purple hat. I'm the only person that was in my last W-2 that wasn't required to wear the company hat because I told them it's not purple. I'm not wearing it.
So I'm going to get mind, It's like that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like color psychology, it's huge. Like having a short
purple stands out too.
Like when I first started my business, my first company name was Hevies, like with an S, which there was no plural, so everybody pronounced it Hevis, which I fucking hated. But it was Hevies Tile Servicing and Contracting Inc.
It's like a rental car service.
Bro, that was a pain to write on a check. Like just these dumb mistakes that we make. Now it's just Heavy Tile Corp, Heavy Tile, like so it's just like there's I look into a lot of that aspect, like branding and stuff with like I don't want my phone number on the shirts. I just want the QR code, the logo. I don't want any saying, no fucking slogan, just simple, clean,
Your wife is hot. Get her AC fixed.
Bro, fucking that's advertisement. Stop talking trash. That's our job.
There's one. It's stiff nipples air conditioning. Stiff nipples air conditioning.
Your wife is hot. You should get bro. Check that. That one is like you fucking take the cake, bro.
Yeah.
See, that's another thing too. Like with the branding that you're talking about, because me and Jeremiah, well, I mean me, I'm always like, dude. I chose a cool name for my business, obviously, but I'm looking at it like now, like, damn, that's a long check to write, and it's like, so I was like, what do I change it to? So I've been chewing away at that, and
that's why my wife was like, if you keep it short, like when you did Daddy, like boom, like it's like dogs. Dogs, if you have like two, what's it called? Not syllables. Is it? Where it's like Daddy or Tayo, what's that?
Oh, I know you're talking
syllables.
About.
Syllables, right? Syllables. Yeah, exactly. So like the least amount of syllables, the easier it is to remember, you know? So if you have like, it's normally like between 2 to 3 syllables is like ideal, you know, is what they say. So yeah, it's like tiled concepts, you know, it's pretty much 2, you know, or concepts or 3 or whatever.
Yeah,
but not that if you have more, it's bad, you know, at all. But
yeah, we call this Omar's identity crisis.
Yeah. So I'm casting like, and I told my wife that
for a while now. I mean, he's changed the logo like 3 times, I think, since you know, he's been going through. It's hard finding that like once we find
and like
you know,
especially like I told my wife, I was like, oh, I'm gonna change the name. She's like, you drop daughters, I'll kill you. I was like, all right, fine. I gotta keep it now. So I'm like, can I, you know, I try to shorten it. And obviously all the companies that have the names that I want to try, they all own them. So I'm like, shit, I can't even do this. So now it's like I'm pretty much stuck with it. It is what it is.
Like it's good, but like think of it like if you want to be effective or strategic with it, I don't know if Daddies and Daughters is the best. If like that's just me being honest, right? I'm not like
please.
Yeah, being completely honest. Because like when I think, if I just hear Daddies and Daughters, it's like I'm not gonna think construction, you know, or like not right away, unless of course like on your page, like you're working with your girls, you know, like they're like who was it? American what was her name that was on your podcast?
The contractor's daughter.
Contractor's daughter, right? Like that, like contractor's daughter. Like, okay, you go on her page. Okay, it's a woman. She works in construction. It kind of make like you get it, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Well, Omar's talked about that, swapping creations with contracting.
That's what yeah, exactly. It sounds like you make arts and crafts in a sense, you know, or like you do like DIY projects with your daughters. Like, and like I said, that's just me being like critical, like
constructive criticism.
You know?
Yeah, no, I've always asked. That's why I'm constantly like,
he's gonna cry after this now.
You got to get in the makeup industry, dog.
No, because like I got lucky as fuck with my name. Like I got super lucky because mine, I always take like the emotional side of it too. You know, like why is my name Heavy Tile? Do you know why it's Heavy Tile? Have I told some of you guys this?
No, I want to know what I was wondering that earlier. I'm like, okay, his name is Herrick.
That's the question. I'm surprised nobody has asked me yet. Like I don't get that question ever.
I would just assume it's a playoff of like big tiles, heavy tile.
Yeah, but why would I then? Like nobody's ever asked me that. It's so crazy.
Okay.
I have been asked.
Why is your company name Heavy Tile?
So same thing stems from almost like where Omar comes with Daddies and Daughters, where like I was the only child up until I was 15. I've always wanted a sibling, and my mom, she got remarried. I finally had a sibling. Her name's Victoria. My name is Herrick, right? So I took the first 2 initials and her first 2 initials and got Heavy. So it's literally like it has nothing to do with being heavy because at the time, like I said, we did 12 by 12s and 16 by 16. We didn't even fucking install any heavy tiles, like, you know? So like it just fucking worked out. You know, it literally just worked out. It's crazy.
16 by 16 was large format.
Yeah, literally. So
no, those tiles are still heavy. They put more in a bundle than normal.
That's where like 24s. Just the HE from Eric and VI from Victoria is where I got that. So that's something you could think of as well. Like if you could kind of combine, because you can still throw your daughters in there, but make it like more tile catchy or like more, you know, to what your field is or what your, you know, your trade is exactly. Not that it's bad because really I love it. Like I think it's
there's a lot of trades.
Yeah,
Jeremiah knows that now.
Yeah, just when you see like Daddy and Daughter Creations, you know, I would maybe do contracting or.
Well, that was another switch. I was considering putting contracting because I do have a company actually next to it. It's a moving company, and it's Clancy's and Daughters.
Yeah, that's
where I got the idea too. Because I saw that big sign since 1982. They're a huge moving company. And it was Clancy, the lady.
But their daughters probably work there or something, you know. It's
right.
Like,
well, I mean, ultimately, that's the goal. Like, my biggest concern was, you know, when I had daughters, obviously, I wasn't prepared for that because I grew up with boys. I just knew how to treat boys. So girls are bringing out a different side of me, you know, and it's awesome, and it's good. It's good because it shows me like, you know, you are human and you have emotions. Yeah. You're not just a robot. And
it's good, man.
so
Daughters are not for nothing. It's
that
great.
was my whole thing. I was like, I want to build something that potentially they could take over. Hopefully, I mean, or they could sell it, whatever they want to do. Once I'm going, I'm going. You know what I mean? But that was the whole stuff. Like, I didn't want them to, especially since they're girls, they face different barriers. Yes, time has changed, things have changed, but there's still the barriers. You know, I always think of it as like still a man's world. So by me doing this, I shield them from that. Like, here's your business. You don't have to deal with all the other BS that you have to prove yourself to anyone, because this is yours. You have to prove yourself. I
mean,
you know,
you can do a DBA for it, you know, for that same business. That way you can keep that name, but you can just have it something else. But like, I just think that, like I said, once again, this is just my personal opinion, in like, not in an offensive way, but like, for what you're doing, they're not really working with you yet. It's like, for example, if I start a moving company or a trash company, and I said, you know, and I have 2 boys and they're old enough to work, they're teenagers, man, I'm gonna have them working with me. I can call it, you know, Eric and Sons or something. But like, when I pull up, it's like when you have like hunks hauling junk, you know, it's, if, you know, girls pull up, it sounds kind of misleading. Not that it's gonna make a difference in whether the job's gonna be better or not, but I just think that, like, it's just
the appeal of it
different, you know, like they're, you know, once you go on your page, it really doesn't matter what your name is. I want Omar's work. I want the work that Omar does, whether it's Daddy's Daughters or Omar's or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But initially, for somebody that like doesn't know who you are, or maybe just like hears of you or something, it just doesn't, I don't think it, like, it really,
it's going to eventually get to a point where they're not going to want him. They're just going to want his daughters there to do the work.
Exactly. They're saying, where are the daughters? I want the daughters.
Okay with that.
Yeah.
Trust me, if they can take over.
Not sense, but like, I just think in that, like, in that way, I think if you could find a way
I've been looking, like, I even thought about their initials, and I mean, you know, May contracting would kind of,
because like Daddies and Daughters on the side of a van, you know, like imagine that, like you drive a big van, you have the whole thing wrapped, Daddies and Daughters, then it's like tile, bathrooms, this, that. At the most, they're gonna be like, man, this is really cool. Like, girls that do tile work, like, you know, like they're gonna be like, they're not in like a sexual way either, just like, that's super dope. Like, if I had like Shannon Tile Chick or somebody come up to my job, like my work, like, this is so fucking dope, you know, like, women like killing the trade industry, but it's just you, you know?
Yeah.
In a sense.
It's disappointment.
No, not a disappointment. No, not a disappointment.
No, absolutely not. But that's what I've been struggling with, essentially. Because, like, you know, I'm like, all right, I bought some decals and all that stuff, and I'm like, I gotta change everything all over again.
I did the same. Trust me, man. I paid $900 for like 40 units or 50 units or something. Now I just sourced my shirts from Alibaba. I've never even dealt with this guy before, but I got like 70 pieces at like $7 a unit. With
man,
heck yeah,
I have to talk to you on that. But no, see, there's also multiple layers that are involved, because you also have your company name. You have, not to mention, his website domain, which he has a couple, and then your social media. All these have to be intertwined, because if they look up Daddy and Daughter Creations and now he's Daddy Tiles on Instagram, right, they're losing a good portion of his.
That's why it has to be super strategic. Super strategic. Like, first thing, business name. Be set. Love it. You have to fucking love your name. Love it. Because once you start building on that, it's such a hassle to change everything again. Second thing, logo. Until you have your logo just right, I'm not going to make shirts, business cards, flyers, a website. I can't. I have to get the logo first. Before I did my logo like this, when I first started out, I thought it would be cool to have a picture of my own projects that I've done behind every letter. So if you look at my last logo,
I remember that.
A marble shower floor, one was a bathroom, one was a backsplash.
That looks too busy.
Fucking busy as hell everywhere, confusing, and very hard for you to scale up and throw, like, as far as like when it comes to pixelizing or getting pixelated. So I knew that, like, before I did shirts and before I did my website and before I did all of this stuff, I was already happy with the name. I had to get a logo. So like that was my number one priority. As soon as I did the logo, I focused on my website. So it's like doing it in the steps too, because sometimes we're like, you just want to get it started so bad. And that's one thing, like, you can do that, because really, like, don't think about it too much. You really should just fucking start it and learn along the way. But once, like, you get your hand on it and say, okay, it's a foundation. Foundation is the name of the company. Why is it this? You know? And so like when I chose Heavy Tile, like it worked in everything, you know, like it just ended up working out. So it's like choosing that a lot, you know. Sometimes it's a random ass name. Like, what the fuck is Lowe's? How would I know that Lowe's Home Depot makes sense, you know? But like, so once you've built that reputation and people know, it doesn't matter what the name is, but until you get to that point, it matters in a sense, you know?
Right.
You know, it's just.
Right.
So going along the lines of how you said you're not doing a whole lot of the work now, you recently just posted about this pool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are there going to be jobs? So like if I was in your shoes and we're doing that pool, that would be something that I would want my hands on. I'd be like, this is a cool project. I want to be a part of it. You don't want to do that?
It's not that I don't. I just can't. I can't.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Like, you know, like I have to be, I would want to, but I just can't. Like, for me to take this in the direction that I'm taking it, I can't be a part of it. I need to be available to just run off that job site and go pick something up if I have to. Like, I do a lot of material runs still. Like, I'll pick up material from my guys all the time, and I make sure that they don't fucking get off their knees in like the most respectful way, you know. But like, I just make sure. like and the thing is they're working by production, you know, so like they don't want to be standing up either. If I can bring them lunch, even if they're paying for their own lunch, but if I can just save them the time of leaving the job site, that's crucial, you know. So like, and the best way that I can support my guys 100% is if I'm not working. I can't be working. It's one thing for me to pull up, show them how to do the layout, or like go over layout and decide what's going to look the best. I'm still a part of it. I'm just not out there under that sun installing it, you know, which is fine by me, you know, because that's the direction I want to take it anyways. And hopefully eventually it'll get to a point where I'm not even going out on these jobs. I'll have a project manager, you know, but in order for me to get to this, and in order for it to get to that position, I can't be on the job sites. I have to be overseeing the projects, making sure that it's up to the standards, and chasing work.
Is that a hard? I mean, granted, obviously we could see like your motivation of like where you're going with it and like how you're streamlined to where you want to go. But is there part of you that's like, damn, that would be really cool to actually be in there doing that? But you've done pools though, right?
Bro, I'm over it, you know? Like I'm just past that point. I've done this for a long time. Like like not only that, but it's a whole different set of challenges. You'd be like, oh, I've got the whole tile thing figured out. Yeah, the installation part. Start fucking running a business. Start having start having to deal with designers and builders and other trades. And your guys getting pissed off because the drywallers are stepping on their floor, and like you trying to tell the guys to not do it and they don't listen. Like it's a whole new set of issues and problems. And so it's like you kind of just like you unlock like a new level, you know, in a sense. And then once you get that going, then it's like once I can get the business almost working by itself, now it's like I want another business, you know. So like now it's a matter of managing businesses and having systems in place. So like I look at my life and as just like this character, right? I look at myself like the fucking video game character. And the more I train, the more I learn, and the more I unlock these levels, the more powerful I get. And it's true. My mind is like, I just keep unlocking levels. You know, it's you know, anytime like it's like unlocking new parts of the map, you know.
And you've already gone through the pitfalls. You already know what to avoid.
You just keep trying to, you know, you're doing extra missions and whatever you can to just, you know, see how much more you can grow and how much stronger you can get in a sense. You know, it's kind of weird analogy, but
just called his business a side quest. No.
Not really.
So, you know, on the social media aspect, when you do post, do you post locations too? Like where you're doing the jobs?
Like neighborhoods, I guess.
Not neighborhoods. Like for instance, like when you do the post of like this bathroom, do you post because it asks you locations under the post?
Yeah, I'll put location. Yeah, I always put location.
See, I wonder if that's my problem. Because like I rarely get leads off it, social media.
No, it's big. I mean,
you get a lot of spam pages, but the chances that like I've had a couple of people reach out to me.
You just go into your settings, go into your hidden words, and just type in like collab or type in DM, whatever. Like type in something where those won't show. You'll still get the engagement for it. You won't have to delete it, and it won't show on your profile if those really bother you. Me, I don't even care if somebody's trying to preach about how somebody changed their life by bettering their credit. Like I care less. I'll just like,
thanks for the comment. That's helping the algorithm.
I'll even fucking reply to it and get the extra engagement off that.
Dude, I like the logo. The logo ones are great. They're like, oh, I don't think you use an awesome logo. I'm in the house, like.
Or they'll be like, send a DM to this page. I'm like, they can DM me. I'll tell them.
What I like to do is then like I get it, and then Donnie gets it a lot too, where it's like, hey, promote this on South Carolina, blah 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 blah. And what I'll do is there'll be like 3 of them, and I'll go in the comments with my real account and comment the same thing. Hey, you should promote this on South Carolina, blah blah blah. Yeah. That's always a little kicker that I get. I do that to a bunch of people.
I mean, yeah, so you get that, but geolocation's big, like things that are in your bio is huge too for you being found. Like everything in your bio is a keyword.
Yep.
It's like think of everything in your bio as if it had a hashtag in front of it, because it pretty much does. Like those are all keywords, searchable keywords when somebody goes on Instagram. So if you type in South Florida tile, South Florida tile, Florida South tile, whatever, like I'm gonna pop up, especially with the page as big as it is, it's gonna pop up.
Yeah, no, I've never had a lead off social media. I had one, but it was like in the middle of New York City. I was like, dude, I'm like 2.5 hours away. It's not gonna work. I'm
doing like 2 estimates a day sometimes, literally.
Holy
like
shit.
Yeah, it's and that's not even that much. Like I want to be doing more because like fucking I'll go a whole week. I'll get like 10 quotes in a week, and I won't get a single. I won't get anything from it. But then there's also that request a quote, and I don't just drive out to every job unless you're like a returning client or somebody I've worked for before.
No, you gotta screen them.
Well, my with the jobber thing, it makes it really easy to like find out exactly what they want, and so I'll hit them with the price. If they start bitching about that, I'm not coming to your job or to your
yeah.
Or at the very least, get them on a reasonable price range, right? And at least if they agree to the price range, they know you're on the same page, and then you can
be ballpark pricing, bro. You give me a decent picture. And I've done so many fucking bathrooms, bro, where like I just know.
Yeah, no, that's the system that we implemented. I told the guys that, before we used to drive out to every estimate. I'm like, hey, listen, can you just text me a picture of the bathroom and what you're looking to do? Basic description. That's it. Oh, I want this, that. Okay, perfect. You're looking at about from this range to this range. It all depends on, because, for me at least, we don't just deal with the tile, we deal with the entire project. So we're talking from the sheetrock all the way down to the last detail.
Yeah, see,
so it's a little bit more complex, right? Yeah, so that's why it's more complex. With me, I do everything, and I do it myself, short of like,
which
like
is
I said,
easier.
And on the materials that you purchase for your clients.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're definitely marking that up.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I mean, we've had multiple. I mean, this is the reason why the podcast was born. Is because we used to have these conversations every night, and we're like, okay, what are you doing? And between the 4 of us, we're bouncing ideas, and I'm like, oh yeah, you should try this. It didn't work. Okay, fine, let's switch to this.
Yeah.
But that was one of the biggest things was I started doing that, and I'm like, oh, your bathroom's about this much. Oh wow, that's a crazy number. It's like, all right, well, sorry to hear that. Or you get the ones where like, all right, great, when can you start?
Oh yeah, and then you're like, aren't you glad I didn't drive out to that?
Well, see, exactly. Then you can start automating this, and this is a perfect example. Like for me, I bought this Microsoft Surface Pro, so I can do my renderings and my work while I'm up here. That was a big downfall I had last time I came up. Yeah. So I had this. We couldn't do the podcast for the month because I manage all the logistics for the podcast. So I bought this, but now I do all the pictures for my estimating through my customers. And then I've officially went all e-signature for my stuff, and I use QuickBooks for my invoicing. So I literally got 3 contracts signed, or estimates I sent out and then turned into contracts that got signed and had their deposits paid while I was up here. And that's huge. So, and that's almost looking me out to the new year. So it's being able to judge things off of photos and get them on a price range. And for some of these people, I got lucky. One already had the measurements, and the other one, there's enough information in the photo between the vinyl on the floor and like just the size of everything, right? So I know they have a 3x3 shower. I know they have a tub, which is 60 inches. So I know the overall width of the thing, and then I can see the little water closet. It's the toilet. 2 lengths of the toilet is the overall closet. Like I was able to do the entire bathroom just based off of the pictures. and I can say within a couple square feet, I've got everything accurate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, like if they accept that price, then you go on, do an on-site assessment, and you solidify those numbers.
Yep.
You make whatever tweaks you need to. But if they're like, yeah, if I have a client where, and that's another thing, even when I come out, if it does get to the point where I do an on-site assessment, very rarely, 90% of the time, I'm not giving you a quote on the spot. Even if I know what it's going to cost on the spot and I can factor it in, you don't get a quote on the spot ever, because I just don't want to hear you cry, especially if you don't like the price. I don't want to hear it. And so, like, well, yeah, I mean, and when they're there in front of you, like, it's just like, I don't have the time for this. I'm not going to negotiate. Yeah. And like, I'm also not going to turn my back and run out of your house, So it's like, it puts me in an awkward position sometimes, because I'm not going to, some clients are just pushy, or potential clients are pushy. So I'll tell them, hey, listen, give me 2 days. And sometimes I don't have that time, to do it right there.
Well, I've got to get myself away from that, because I use Thumbtack, so I get a lot of the lead and I hate it, but I have a good base on there, and I've got like 35 reviews that are really good on there, so I still use it. But I got to get away from going to every single site and doing estimates. I mean, there's been countless jobs that I've gone to that just were complete busts because they didn't put the information correct on the website or whatever the lead was supposed to be. So it's a waste of time.
And not only that, but like I've also had clients where they accept your price. They already know damn well that they're not going to close, right? But they'll say, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds reasonable. It's within budget. And you'll go out to their job. You'll do measurements because now you think this guy's going to work with you. And so you're doing all your takeoffs and all this shit, all this extra work. And pretty much the guy just wanted a fucking consultation on what to do with his bathroom, on design, on whatever. And
or the measurements.
And he's got his material list now. He knows exactly what he needs for everything. And so
I don't release that to the customer unless it's we're in contract.
That was the other thing too that we implemented was a consultation fee. Yeah, deposit. So I always tell them, listen, save your spot, because guess what? It's a scheduling thing. The next customer comes in, they're ready to go. I'm not going to be like, hold on 1 second. Let me see if this guy, no. You gave me the deposit. This month is yours. Done. Yeah. Now we can work. And it also shows like a faith thing, trust. If I tell you, hey, listen, I take let's say $500 deposit. That saves your spot. It's going to be deducted from the final payment.
Yeah.
If they're like, yeah, no problem, where do I send it? Versus like, if they bulk at that, then right away I'm like, all right, this person's just wasting my time.
That's what I'm saying. And so it's with those things. That's why, like, in those no's is when you get the energy. That's when you can feel the energy from the other person, So it's crucial. It really is crucial to be firm. I'm telling you, like, you'll attract what you want. You really will. Like, even if you feel like sometimes you're losing work, you're not really losing something that was going to cost you money, or it was going to cost you headaches, or was going to, like, that's not an L. Like, losing is taking that job for less and just being so fucking, like, you're just suffocating in work because, like, you're like, well, why would I do this? And of course the client's there, and on top of that, they're like, well, this tile is a little crooked here, or this got a little lip here, and you're like, motherfucker, if I could finish the job within just the time that I told you, that'd be good enough,
Exactly.
You realize,
that's the system.
You fuck yourself pretty much, And like,
do you ever feel like sometimes you'll get pictures and you'll send somebody a price or whatever, but do you ever feel like with the pictures that you're like, okay, I need to actually go there and see what the fuck is going on to give them a good estimate? If it's
not like your typical cookie cutter, I mean, besides like shimming out a wall or two that's out of plumb, like that's
right,
but if it's an intricate bathroom, like right now I have one where, like, I just quoted where I think like just the back wall is like 9 foot and the side walls are 4 foot, and it's like there's a lot to it, So like I also need to know, like, are we doing jolly trim? Are we doing miters? Because like I charge, like, miters, I'll do like per linear foot, I'll charge on those. So for the most part, like, I'll have a system already on how I want to charge. But if there's a lot of intricate stuff, or if sometimes, let's say the client says that they're not just doing one tile on the whole bathroom, they have designs. They're going to have a border, and in the middle of that border, it's going to be a herringbone, and around the herringbone, it's going to be a subway, and on the sides, it's going to be a plank, So when you start mixing materials and getting into designs and things of that nature, then I'm like, all right, I got to show up to the job site. Yeah. It's a builder I've worked with before. I don't even question it. But if it's something I've never worked with, then yeah.
do you do any type of renderings? And if you do you offer designing as almost like a standalone service that will one help you and complement you on the contracting side?
I don't yet. I just send my client to showrooms that have designers.
Okay.
Like Floor and Decor, for example, has free design consultation. I tell them go there. I don't even want to deal with it. The same way that like I don't want to deal with the vanities or the electric or any of that. I just want to deal with the tile work. Like that's why I'm in and I'm out. I don't waste time with the clients on none of that bullshit.
Because that's something I have to start charging for, because I used to if it's a simple
Just so
stuff
much, bro. Tile selection, I'm telling you,
well
they're the most indecisive. Like it's when it comes to tile selection. I feel like I have to dedicate myself to being a designer for me to really take that seriously and be effective at it.
I wouldn't say I do so much designing. I just throw the renderings together.
What he means by rendering is not necessarily helping them pick
designing bathrooms.
Like the last bathroom, like one of the bathrooms that I'm actually going to start next month, is he helped me with the designs as far as building it, so they could see somewhat of what their bathroom is going to look like. Obviously, it's not the exact tile. So I gave that to her, and she was like, "It completely changed the bathroom. We changed the design twice, I think, so far." Where she was like, "Wow, that really looks crap. It would look good in my head, but like once I saw it in pictures, they're like, yeah, I don't like it." So it completely changed. So that's what he was saying as far as just rendering, as far as being able to show them it could look like.
Yeah, I haven't implemented that yet. Besides, like my shitty drawings on my iPad, or something. Like I'll just kind of sketch out kind of what it'll look like, or I can pull up pictures on the internet that look very similar, and say, hey, this is kind of what this looks like. Or most of the time, they draw inspiration from that, anyways.
Yeah. Well, another benefit of that, which has come to save me, is, and this is one of the reasons why for the longest I didn't charge for the renderings, is I make the renderings a part of the contract. Yeah. So when they go, well, I didn't think it was going to look like that. I was like, well, your signature is right here, where it says it's going to look exactly like what you see.
No, that's key. I definitely need to implement something like that. I mean, and I know there's softwares now too. I think there are like apps that you could download. I've seen
SketchUp. I mean, I know Misha.
AutoCAD. SketchUp's pretty powerful.
She uses all that stuff to design the bathrooms essentially, because she does, I guess, the designing, he does the building. It's great.
Yeah, it's just for me. Yeah, I mean, if it ever got to that point, most of the time I'm dealing with builders. They know what they want. They have their designers. Like this.
Yeah, and that's
he's doing. It's a spec home. Like these guys build spec homes, so it's to his standards. Like there's not even a client. He's still gonna sell the home. So it's like I already know what the hell they want. Like, just tell me what you want on this wall, what you want on that wall. We're here. We'll knock out the labor. I just do the tile. I don't fuck with the plumbing or the electric, because if I Jeremiah's. Oh, you were frozen. It looked like you were sleeping because you were like this, but you were frozen.
I'm getting off this podcast.
That's the big difference where, like, I find myself, I guess, being different, because Jeremiah still subcontracts most of his work. Yeah. I do most of my work because unfortunately,
I've just recently started a subcontracting.
Oh no, I'm talking about the plumbing and all that other stuff, all the stuff that I do.
Oh well, that's because I legally have to.
I sub all that out. I sub out.
Right.
I sub out.
Like, it would be nice to do that, but like recently, on a recent job, I tried that route. I called a certain person. I was like, "Hey, listen, come to my job site. Give me a price of how much you would charge me to do this." Well, they showed up, and then they wanted to take over the job and make me the sub. And it was like, I'm gonna. Right. He was like, "Oh, I want this much." I'm like, "All right, cool." They're like, "Oh, you're gonna help me, right?" I'm like, "Then why am I paying you?" Like, like, I brought you here to do the job. I didn't bring you here as a helper.
It wasn't a cheap price either.
But that's all relationships, man. Like it's tough. Like when I speak on these things, because like I'm like not a veteran, but like I've had my.
You got time.
I've got time and like experience in this game, so I know carpenters, drywallers. I know it's like I put these systems into place. When I managed projects for 4 years, that's all I dealt with. I managed 9 crews and drove to 9 job sites every day, 1 full tank of gas every single day. It was like 350 miles that I would drive daily, literally. I mean, it was insane, and I would have to schedule plumbers. I'd have to schedule carpenters to come in after the flooring. I would have to schedule like all of this stuff, you know. So as far as that goes too, like I know the guys already, and I just put these systems into place, you know. And most of the stuff I don't even make my money on, you know, or make money on top of. I just focus on the tile work. That's what I know. That's what I can do effectively. If I do something wrong, I can fix it. You know, if I don't do drywall or plumbing, or like I know how to do plumbing, but one time, like I did it for a family friend like 7 years ago or something like that. I changed their valve or something, and everything was fine, but like there was like a pressure issue
until it wasn't.
There was a pressure issue, which is like, well, we're not getting the same amount of pressure as we were getting before. Why is that?
Oh, Omar will be able to explain that to you.
I can tell you that because back in '98, I believe they changed the gallons per minute.
No, it's not the shower head. It wasn't that. I think it was like
pull out the aerator then.
No, the actual body is governed down now. So if you have the 3-valve systems, the old school ones, you're getting full pressure. There's nothing stopping that water. The new cartridges are legally by federal law have to be
produced how many gallons per minute they pull. Right. But it wasn't even that. I think it was just like I pulled the lines from like somewhere else, or it's like when you do electric, you overcharge if you put too much power on like a circuit breaker, you know, like electric. Electric, I can know how to wire some stuff, but like, do I know if I'm overcharging the circuit or not? No,
well, the breaker didn't flip, did it? No.
It's one of those things where like if I do it my best, it turns out like shit, how can I fix it? If I literally just did the best that I could do, you know, like I can't do any better than that. So if I just focus on what I know, it just there's a lot. I take a lot less L's in a sense.
See, I think, and what Omar, it seems like what he's more running into is being able, I guess, the accessibility of contractors, of subcontractors, for him to develop a relationship with. So like for me, I've got my plumber, and if a customer tries to go, hey, what if I just just work with you, right? My plumber would be like, no. Yeah. Or if they go, hey, do you know another tile guy? They'll be like, Tile Concepts is the only tile company I know on the face of this earth.
You build that relationship, and you know, it's a network.
Like I said, my area, unfortunately, I've noticed
it takes a while to build up.
Right. I tried to hire this one guy to be my helper. He literally was like, hey, listen, I'm looking for work. I said, fine, I'll try you out. But then something told me, it's like, go look at his Facebook page. Just look through his pictures, see what he's got. And like 15 pictures in, I see his LLC name. I was like, I started digging into the LLC. Well, he has a company of his own. Then I started looking on Facebook, and I started finding out that like he is a contractor. Yeah. So I'm like, so why do you want to be hired as a helper? And then now I know it's like, oh, so you want to just come in on the job just to get your foot in the door and then cut me out of it.
Well, it's either that or like he just can't get his own work right now, and maybe he's just not a very good person. He just doesn't run his business very well, and so that's why.
That's also but you'll find that a lot here. Unfortunately, I guess
you'll find that a lot here too, man. That's everywhere.
In New York, they come in and they're like they come in and they want to take over. And
this is my job site now.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at me. I'm the contractor now.
They'll be like, how much they paying you, or how much they charge you? That much? Oh, I can do it for half that. You know, that happens everywhere. But that's why you stand on your value and you build your reputation. That's the most important thing. You build your reputation because like they're not gonna want anybody else. You know what I mean? Like if they wanted somebody cheaper, they would have went with the cheaper bid. Like,
that's you start getting into greedy subs when you do that, because that's one thing is like my subs will, if they have to show up on site, they may talk to the homeowner, like shoot the shit, but they won't discuss business, right? If the customer starts digging for pricing, they'll go, you have to talk to Jeremiah.
Yeah, you talk to me. Everything is talk to me. Talk to me. Everything has to go through me. Everything has to be approved by me. Nothing gets done unless I say so,
Well, especially if there's a permit in place. I'm like, you legally can't. You have no control.
Oh, yeah, but and
I got lucky with that. So, not lucky. I should say my reputation, like you said.
Like for example, this builder that we're doing the travertine floor that I quoted him on this pool. He said, like last month, he said, hey, can you quote me on the stairs? I said, yeah, sure, I can quote you on the stairs. It's like 22 steps. Came out to like, I don't know, I charged him. It's funny because I actually asked this question on my stories, and I was getting upwards of like 15,000 is what I should have charged. And I charged like 11 grand to do the stairs. And he told me, I don't know if he's going to watch this or not. I'll probably post it on my story. Hopefully he doesn't get this deep into it. But either way, what he did was he told me, he came in the next day. He's like, man, 11 something. And I was like, yeah. He's like, that's the best you could do. I'm like, yeah, it's the best I could do. He's like, you were the highest bid. He's like, I got 2 other bids on the stairs. He's like, one guy told me 8. And I was like, go with that guy,
Yeah.
He's like, but I like you. He's like, but I like you. I was like, I want you to do it. He's like, come on. He's like, fuck. He took the bid. He literally accepted it. And it wasn't in a mean way because I've built a relationship with them now. But it was funny because like that was a playful way. He really wasn't undervaluing me. He was just like, dude, you're the highest bid, but I love your work, so like I'm gonna go with you.
I have a customer like that currently, and the only reason why I got her is off of a reference. She told them, it's like, I really want to work with them, but then again, I make it clear that my prices are not going to be the cheapest. It won't be the highest of the highest.
I'm not your home flipper contractor. I tell them all the time, like this builder, for example, this is my first job I'm doing for them. They're called Always Construction. These guys are based out of California, and they're just now infiltrating the East Coast as well. So now this is like the first or the second home that they're doing. It's a custom build spec home, $6.5 million home, all like California European style that they're doing. And so I had 3 Guatemalans, and I'm telling you, like these guys will outwork most people that I know doing a whole Mudset job. They knocked out 3,500 square foot on the second floor of a home in 2 weeks, 2 fucking weeks.
Damn.
Insane. And the first floor, same thing. So the builder turns to me and he says, hey, listen, I got a project that's going to be ready for you it's going to be ready for tile around this time next year, but it's in California. 25,000 square foot project. It's like a $25 million home. And when I first got this job, he told me, he says, we're coming here on the East Coast. He's like, but we don't have any subs. And we found you on Instagram, whatever. Now that I've been working with him, at the time he told me, he's like, in California, we have all our subs. Here, we don't know anybody, They're glad they found me. I referred to them an IT guy, which is the same one that I did the staircase with, the LED staircase.
Mm-hmm.
Smart IT. They literally are on that job as well. So like I'm referring who I know to get them in there. And I'm helping them out with these subs. So these guys turn to me and they say, hey, we have this home in California. We want you guys to do it. And so I'm like, that's in Cali, Yeah. And he's like,
Can I take my dog?
I'm like, dude, it's 20. I was like, how many square feet? 25,000. I'm like, it's a 6-month job. Easy. Like 4 to 6 month job. Easy, And I was like, don't you have your subs? Like, I thought, like, you told me you had your subs in California. He's like, yeah, but these guys don't work like you do. They didn't put down as much flooring like you guys did. And we met literally we're flush with all the sliding doors. He had an issue at his own home where somebody actually passed away because of a trip hazard that was in his own home. So all of his homes he builds, they're all seamless. All the showers are 0 entry. And so like he's huge on that. And I met everything that I've told him that I could do, I've delivered on. The uncoupling membrane, like I told him that we should do that over the gypcrete. He was going to just install over the gypcrete. It cost him more money, but he accepted it and he appreciated my expertise, So it's like all these things, like just by me doing it right, you'll find those builders that value that work, like quality is priceless. When you're dealing with people that just want something done for a buck or whatever, like people that really want something done right, they don't really care what it costs. If I can't afford to wrap my truck in a quality way, I'm not going to go fucking do it at the flea market, just because I couldn't.
Right.
I'll fucking save my goddamn money until I can afford to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I want something quality and I know what quality costs and I know the sacrifice I have to make in order to get that,
Well, because if you get cheap, you just end up spending more in the long run.
So it's the same thing,
twice and you pay the same price.
I actually have to do my research on even what square footage is in California because it's going to be hefty. And I told him, I was like, well, these guys all have families. He's like, bring them all. Bring the family. He's like, we have 5 or 6 homes there. You guys can take one of them.
Shit, that's dope.
Smallest one has 5 bedrooms, but state tax is a lot higher. Cost of living is a lot higher. Groceries, beer, cigarettes, whatever it is that they're going to be doing since they're going to be living there. It's like, it's all going to be higher. Granted, I haven't bid the job yet. I have to fly out there. I'm going to fly out there next year to bid it. I think like early next year, but I'm going to fly out there with one of the install. No, it'd be dope. It would be super dope, you know. But
document the whole damn thing. That'd be awesome.
I would.
And
I really,
6 months after that, Heavy's gonna be located in California.
no.
Hey guys, I'm doing a meet and greet at this address in Cali. All right, pick a trowel, take a trowel.
No, but I mean, it's different, you know. Like I wouldn't even fly out tools. I would just buy stuff there, or whatever. Like, you know, or I would just reach out to any tool brands that I've been working with. Say, hey, I need this shipped here. You know, can you hook me up? I got a big ass project, and I'll promote the fuck out of it. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like
that would be huge. Yeah, I mean,
eventually,
I gotta figure out the social media thing because like the
my
leads.
my shit's, bro. If I show you my fucking, I'm losing followers by the day. I mean, my shit is currently tanking. Could not care less. Look. I've reached 2 million accounts in the past month, right? In the last 30 days, for example. I don't know if you can see it.
Here, hold on.
Right? I'm gonna show you my followers right now. I'm losing like 20, 30 followers a day.
Hold on.
Oh, you're on the negative.
Yeah, bro. I'm losing them literally on the daily. Do I care? Bro, I'm still gonna
Hell
post.
no.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I'm still gonna post. It's just like that's the thing. It's consistency. Like, if I let that shit get in my head about, oh man, like my content's doing really bad, bro, I'm still getting jobs. You know, so like that says something. Even though I'm losing followers, that content is still doing something. Like Bart from the NTCA reached out. I applied to be a trainer for the NTCA. Actually, I saw that they were hiring, but a while ago, Bart reached out to me before the coverings thing, and he was like, "Yo, I've been following you." It's like a random ass account. He's an executive director for the NTCA, and he's like, "I love your work. I love your jiu-jitsu stuff." He's like, "I love that you train." It's like this guy's never commented on my video or liked it or anything. I don't have no idea following.
Just lurking, just lurking.
But you don't know who's watching. You know what I mean? So like, and if we get into our heads and we stop posting or slow down on it a little. I mean, mine slowed down, granted, but regardless, like I'm gonna post whenever I can, as often as I can, you know. But if you get into your head, it's fine. You can get into your head, but then maybe you miss out on possibly, you know, showing up in front of that one person that you really could have, or that one builder, or that one brand, or that one something that, you know. So I use that a lot, and that's why I don't delete my stuff too. You go on my page, my shit's doing horrible, bro. If I'm not collabing with somebody, it's doing bad. But it's what it is, bro. Like I'm running
nature of the game.
Business. I'm not installing anymore, and this is the direction it's taking. Like, what do I do? Backtrack and say no, I got to go back to installing so I can make fire videos and get great engagement? No, man. It's like I have to adapt. That's like I'm
at the end of the day, it's a business, you know. It's, you know, you don't at the end of the day, you're in business to make money.
Instagram is a tool that I use, just like a wet saw, just like a grinder, just like it's just another tool that I use, and one of the biggest ones that I use for my business. So I focus so big on it. And I don't really care if my content's doing great. And like, even with like collab brands and stuff like that, I've been turning down so many because I just don't have time. Like, I'm not on the job showing products anymore, you know? So now it's going to get to a point where I'm going to sell my service. I'm going to sell the fuck out of my service by showing what I can do, how I do it, and showing people, listen, I can handle these big jobs. And by getting these big jobs and by having people work, slowly but surely, people won't expect the guy in the video anymore. They're going to expect Heavy Tile with the guys in shirts that show up.
They're expecting the brand, do a good not quality the guy.
Job. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's all a part of the transition. Like, it's not going to be like that right now, but eventually it'll be like that. I wasn't always Heavy Tile. I was just some fucking random tile installer. Nobody knew who the fuck I was. I was just like a bunch of other tile installers or that like don't invest in videos and stuff like we do, like with our page and stuff. We're just out here installing with whatever. So it's like you create that for you, man. You literally put yourself in that position. You level up that character in a sense. Like I'm saying, like it's just gonna get to a point because like eventually. What I want to do is media. I fucking love making videos. My plan is to just have this right here. This is why I have the Heavy sign right here on this side, because that's going to be the brand is going to be Heavy. Tile is going to be a sub company. Heavy Media is going to be a sub company. Like I want to eventually do that as well. So Heavy is going to be the brand. This product that I'm coming out with, like I was mentioning earlier, it's
Heavy tools.
It's a heavy. It's just heavy. It's not even heavy tools or heavy tile. It's just heavy. It's just that's just that brand.
And that's
just
where
don't
I messed
make
up.
it the same Metabo green, okay?
So that's where I messed up with my company, is because I took a liking to tile, so I wanted to focus on tile for this company. But at the end of the day, this company is just here for me to build it up because I want to get into custom homes. Building luxury homes. So I can't really do that if under tiled concepts. I mean, I can, but for tile work, my logo and my company name implies it.
You can have that right now and then still open up another one. Like, what am I going to just reduce tile from Heavy? I can't. I just have to. Yeah. I can't take the tile away. I have to either come out with just the Heavy or make a DBA or something. But
yes,
I want, like, that's just eventually going to be it. It's just going to be Heavy, and tile is just going to be something else that we do. Eventually, I want to have a showroom. I want to have the Heavy showroom eventually, where you go in there and you can purchase tile from me and deal with sales. Now I'm doing the installation and I'm selling the product for your job as well.
Bro, you imagine your sign right behind your head on a big ass building.
Imagine driving by that bitch on the side of the, like, bro, it'd be sick. So, and these are all, and that's the thing too. It's like I play in the long term, baby. Like, I'm not here. Like, that's why I know I'm gonna outlast, because I don't really care how hard it is or how long it takes. Like, I'm literally playing this shit in decades, bro. My plans for this business are not within the next 2 years. It's within the next 5 years or 10 years. I'm 32 now. So if I can be set around 45 years old in my head, which is 13 years from now, if I just fucking buckle down like I have been, head down, go to work for the next 13 years, at least, let's say 10, bro, there's no way, that it's not going to work out. And especially, like, I don't have any distractions, man. I don't have any distractions, and I keep it that way,
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing that I do besides thinking about tile is fucking train my jiu-jitsu. That's it. Besides that, I'm either on a job, bidding a job, editing tile work, looking for trends, or finding out how to do tile. Like, the only time that I stop thinking about it is when I go train, and like that's why I love it so much as well. Because like it just forces me that, and when I take a shower, the times where we don't have our phones and where we don't have them. It's crucial, man. It's crazy. We're so used to having it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but it's starting to wrap up the night for me on this.
Where you guys are at?
I'm currently in New York with Omar until the 11th.
What's that? 12:30 over there?
Oh yeah, it's 11.
Yeah, we're all. I think
same shit. Never mind. What am I talking about?
No, we're in the same time zone.
Yeah, I'm tripping.
Yeah, so but definitely listen. It was
just
great
colder.
having you on.
You thinking you're already in California, my man?
See, this guy.
I don't even know if I want to do. And like I said, that's a big no job right there. That's a big, like, yo, this is the price. Oh well, but this is the price.
Well, that's especially something like that. That's something that you cannot negotiate. Like, this is how I want it to be. You want me to go do this? This is how I want it to be. This
and sometimes that no means that, like, you like you said, you set a little wiggle room for yourself, but not to say no, just in case mishaps happen on the job.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that wiggle room should be. And sometimes that wiggle room, they might think it's a bit much, but I need that wiggle room, because if I do it without the wiggle room, yes, could it be successful and nothing go wrong and me be able to make what I thought I was going to? Yes, but if something does go wrong, that's way too big of a project for me to be taking that risk,
Yeah.
Well, I guess you probably don't need this introduction. You're pretty known enough. But tell us where people that don't know you, where they can find you on social media. And I guess
you can find me at heavy_tile. On Instagram, and Facebook is just Heavy Tile. Same thing with TikTok, or heavytile.com if you need a quote, content creation, whatever, advice.
Accepting California customers.
Trial.
Yeah. No.
So, all righty. Well, thank you for coming on. It was great seeing you and talking with you again. We met you at Coverings. It was nice and humbling to see you there.
Hey, before you go. Coverings. Not a lot of people were talking about it. Are you going?
Yeah, I'm definitely going. I'll definitely.
What about KBIS?
So KBIS, I don't think I will go to, just because it's at the same time as I forgot what the fucking thing is called. When I was at Coverings this year, I got invited to go to Valencia in Spain to go to a convention that they're going to have there. And it's literally the same week of KBIS. And obviously, I'm going to go to fucking Spain, which I've never been there. So that's exciting because it's like 3 or 4 days of that. And then I think we're even going to a tile factory. But that's actually going to be with Tiles of Spain. Ryan, that did the tour for Tiles of Spain, was the one that invited me. Hopefully that still stands. I told him I was going to reach out to him like 2-3 months before just to make sure that he remembered still. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, he follows me as well. That's another page that guy's got like 400 followers, you know, like you just would never think, you know, and he loves my work. And he's like, dude, I need to get you out here. You know, when he met me at Coverings, he was even more stoked, you know? So that's what I'm saying. Just do the work when no one's looking or when you think no one's looking, you know?
Okay, yeah.
But that's probably where I'll be at if that still stands. If not, then I do plan on going to KBIS because I've never been there as well.
Well, we'll try to see if we can. We're still debating if we're going, but we'll wrap it up there. So
yeah, sounds good, man.
In the stream, and then